Goodness me, we're joined now by two women who've also fallen victim to cosmetic complications. Our very own Ashley James and former Hollyoaks star Sarah Jane Dunn. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for coming in.
Morning.
Just looking at that footage there, Ashley, of Victoria and what she went through because she took a risk of getting a friend who she thought was qualified to inject her. It's terrifying for me. Both of you have been through a similar scenario. We'll come on to the details of it. What did you make of the research that we found, these statistics, Ashley?
Do you know what? I find it not very surprising. So even the fact that 1 in 4 women or people wouldn't think to check if the practitioner is qualified, why would you think to check? In the same way that if I go to the dentist, I don't think to be like, by the way, are you qualified to do this? You sort of just assume.
Well, no, but a dentist trains for 4 or 5 years. They go through medical school, so you understand there's been a lot of exams and physiology that's been passed.
I do understand that, but my point is that until I got involved in this campaign, I actually assumed, especially because it's like, you know, in the UK, loads of this stuff happens in, like, shops. I counted about 17 on my way in this morning. So you sort of assume that if somebody is doing injectables, that they have been trained to a level that is of UK standard. And obviously the issue is, what is the UK standard? But until getting involved in this, I actually wouldn't really have thought to check because you think, you know, why would you need to?
And you're similar, Sarah?
Yeah, the same. So my experience was about 8 years ago, and same as you, Ashley. I assumed, I didn't realise at that time, and I didn't realise until I'd had this procedure, and even until years later when I spoke to actual doctors, medical professionals, about what I'd had done and what had gone wrong, that it was a completely unregulated industry and that basically anyone can get hold of this stuff. And like on the footage, you're saying, you know, people are self-administering these products at home.
Yeah, and you worked in the clinic and there was somebody that gave you lip filler.
Yeah, so mine was lip filler. I worked in a beauty salon at the time, so I'd had my little boy, I was in between acting jobs, and my little boy, I think, was probably about 6-7 months old, and a practitioner came in to do injectables, had nobody booked in, and offered me and the girls at the clinic, does anyone want a treatment?
Yes.
And naively, probably I was in quite a vulnerable place, having just had a child, and, you know, you don't really feel like yourself, you want a little bit of a glow-up. So I was like, yeah, great. I mean, this guy obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, it felt like a safe environment too.
Yeah.
You were there, right? You worked there.
Absolutely. But now looking back, you know, there was no pre-consultation, there were no patch tests, there was nothing. I didn't have to fill in any forms. I had the treatment done, and immediately, as having the treatment done, I realised, or I knew that something wasn't right. It was painful, it was uncomfortable. I could feel sort of the filler going in. I could feel that something wasn't right, and immediately after...
Is that you there in that picture?
That is me, yeah. That was immediately after. So I sent the pictures to a doctor that I'd been to previously. So the thing is, I'd had filler before.
Right, so you knew what it was supposed to feel like.
Yeah. And then it was painful, it was bruised, it was lumpy, it was swollen after, and I was embarrassed. There's then that sense of...
Bit of shame.
You feel shamed, yeah. I didn't even tell my husband. Obviously, he knew. But I went home and I remember sitting, having dinner, sort of feeling really uncomfortable. I didn't tell my parents. No. And it wasn't until I had corrective treatment. So I ended up having the filler dissolved a few years later and having it redone by a doctor once I knew what to look for, exactly. But like you were saying, if you don't know what to look for, where do you even start?
And it sounds like, as well, Ashley, to be fair to Sarah, like you were saying, she was in a beauty clinic. She was in a place where people come for these sorts of procedures and other sorts of treatments. Talk us through what you've been through.
Yeah, so I do get Botox for aesthetic reasons or anti-wrinkle injections. There's lots of different ones. I'm not sure which I had, but I get it for aesthetic reasons, but I also get it for jaw grinding.
I do as well, this side.
So I get, it's called like the masseter injection, and so it goes into your jaw, and I did it a few months ago. It lasts a bit longer than other areas, I think, because the muscle's so thick there. And
but that stops you grinding your teeth at night.
Stops you from grinding your teeth.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically, after about 2 days of getting it done, I realised that I couldn't smile. my face was completely paralysed, and it's actually only just worn off, so I can smile again, yay. But that was me. That was me trying to smile. And obviously, again, like you say, of like the shame and embarrassment, because I think whether you do it for reasons like grinding or whether you do it for aesthetics, when something does go wrong, it does feel really embarrassing, because I feel like there is this sort of like undeniable pressure with anti-aging. The messaging is everywhere, and you know, I would always say when I was younger, I'm going to grow old gracefully, whatever that means. But now I really support people's choice to decide, because I think the pressure is unbearable. We're all consuming so many different images of people online. When I came into the industry, it was kind of at the beginning of Instagram taking off, and I was being offered all these different injectables all the time for free.
Yeah, same.
And I still worry actually for people that come on to like a lot of like reality shows who come out with these huge platforms, because the problem is they also come out to a lot of criticism. You know, there is always like commentary about the way you look. So whether someone's commenting on the size of your lips or, you know, whatever it is, people are then like, oh, they're saying this about me, this person's offering me these injectables. But for me, I started because the messaging around me was like, the earlier you get it done, it's preventative. It's like, you know, they call it like this baby. It's like, almost feels like it's this harmless thing. And I always say now, like, I feel like I'm in a bit of a trap, because I actually don't love getting these injectables, and I feel really conflicted with it. I don't necessarily like the way I look after it, and obviously in this case I couldn't smile, so it really impacts me. But then I also feel like since I started, I'm a bit trapped in it, because I don't like how I look without it, now that it's worn off. And do you know that the film with Demi Moore, Substance, it does feel a little bit like that the more you focus on something, almost like the worse it becomes.
There is an irony, there isn't there? I think you've said this actually, that these things that are supposed to make you feel better and feel happier had the exact opposite, and you couldn't even smile.
Yeah, well, I said the irony wasn't lost on me, that I get Botox, anti-wrinkle injections, whatever it may be, to feel happier, and I loved my smile, and I lost my ability to smile.
Yeah. So what are the current regulations at the moment? Because clearly they don't seem to be far-reaching enough in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, so in Scotland, they actually have announced that they are bringing in better regulations. So there is going to be licensing both for practitioners but also premises, because if you think about it, with premises, it's about insurance, hygiene, but actually in England and Wales, there is still quite varied regulations, because it very much depends on the council. There's no UK-backed scheme at the moment, so there are no licences necessary.
It just does seem extraordinary, doesn't it? I mean, Sarah, interestingly, really you grew up as an actress in a world when you were a teenager, and magazines were a lot more ruthless about how girls looked, particularly girls. They would pick on men and male, but it wasn't as much as the girls. That sort of shifted a bit, I think. But the access, as Ashley was saying, is that people can get to you now because of the advent of Instagram, the advent of online. You make a very good living from being able to do that and share that online. How are you navigating that and the need that you feel to portray yourself and to maintain your ageing, whether it's gracefully or anti-ageing or whatever you're doing? How do you manage and navigate that?
I think now, as a woman in my 40s, I am much more like, everything that I do is now just for me. I enjoy getting anti-wrinkle injections and the lip filler because it makes me feel better. I don't do it for anyone else. I get it done like I would get my hair done. You know, if I feel like I need my hair doing, I'll go and get my colour and my cut done. If it's a year and I've not had my anti-wrinkle injections, I'll go and get them done. It just makes me feel nicer. But saying that, when I started getting them done late 20s, early 30s, it definitely was a different reason. I definitely did feel pressure to look a certain way. You know, I'm about to turn 30, or I'm getting to that point where, as a woman, I'm no longer valid unless I look younger. So it definitely did start from that place. And what worries me is now, with the online community, is that young girls are getting these things done. They don't need them. They may never need them or want them. It's never going to be a need. It will always be a choice, but it's accessible. And the worrying thing is that it's so unregulated and anyone can do it, and there's this pressure. So even as a woman in my early 30s, I fell into this trap of getting this procedure done by someone that wasn't qualified, and it went wrong. Imagine the pressure that young women are facing, and men, that are facing with everything that's being force-fed to them online, it really does need to be policed and regulated.
Yeah, and it's about getting recommendations and it's
100%.
about moderation too. What are the tougher regulations you'd like to see, Ashley?
So there's an amazing government-approved register of doctors, nurses and dentists called Save Face. So they are calling for tougher government legislation for non-surgical cosmetic treatments. So obviously they want a dedicated task force to ensure that existing laws are effectively enforced and that these high-risk procedures are banned on the high street, because when you think about it, you know, you need licensing for so many different things, so why not this? And like I said earlier, I would just always assume that if someone is promoting anti-wrinkle injectables, especially, you know, lots of people, you see them promoting them online, you would just automatically assume that they are registered. So they are calling on government legislation.
It's an extraordinary risk to take, isn't it? To be able to go to someone that you don't know the background of, and you don't know what they're injecting you, but also for the person that's doing it to take that risk, knowing that they could cause the damage that we had.
Because
to
they don't
Kaylee
understand the biology and where the muscle groups are.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Thank you for coming on the show, ladies, and for chatting about it.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. At the most important point this Monday morning, highlighting the dangers of unregulated cosmetic treatment.
Yeah, every day, thousands of treatments like anti-wrinkle jabs and filler are carried out across the UK. But in shocking new research commissioned for This Morning, we can reveal that half of all women who've had non-surgical procedures have later needed medical help.
Yeah, so in just a moment, we're going to be hearing from 3 women who are bravely breaking their silence about the life-threatening trauma they experienced as we launch our new This Morning campaign to tackle cosmetic cowboys.
Botox, filler, facial threads and Brazilian bum lifts. These non-surgical cosmetic procedures promise instant results without going under the knife. And business is booming.
So I've had Botox here, here and here.
I've had fillers in my lips before.
I've had some Botox done and collagen as well.
I've had Botox here, my frown lines, in my nose, and I've had lip filler.
I've had just my lips done and my top of my lip to lip flip.
The UK's non-surgical cosmetic market is now worth over £3 billion. Walk down any high street and there's an aesthetics clinic on every corner. But behind the plump lips and flawless skin, a different story is emerging. At This Morning, we surveyed 2,000 women who all had non-surgical cosmetic procedures. Our exclusive results show that half of the women say they've had to seek medical assistance after having a procedure. And shockingly, 15% have ended up in hospital. Respondents also told us that half of aesthetic procedures were not carried out by someone medically qualified. So are these treatments really as low risk as they claim? And who will hold these cosmetic cowboys to account?
Well, as we launch our new campaign, we're joined in the studio by 3 women who know just how risky the treatments can be.
Yeah, Nicola, Lindsay and Kaylee were all hospitalised after being injected with what they thought was Botox. They join us now to bravely share their stories alongside Dr Zoe. And Dr Zoe, the findings of this survey are really actually quite shocking. The age ranges and also the number of people that have required treatment.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked. So we surveyed 2,000 people who've had these non-surgical cosmetic procedures, and we found that half of women who've had them required medical assistance following their treatment. 15% had to attend hospital or an A&E or urgent care department. Half of these procedures actually took place in non-clinical settings, so people's homes, living rooms, kitchens, and respondents said they believe half of these aesthetic procedures were not carried out by somebody medically qualified. So I think I was aware that a lot of this was going on, but not to this extent. That 50% of people required medical assistance. That really surprised me.
Extraordinary, isn't it? Well, 3 women who all required medical assistance are joining us on the sofa. Thank you all for coming in and being brave enough to share your stories. Nicola and Lindsay, you both went to the same practitioner, is that right?
Yeah, we did.
Did you have any expectation that the treatment that you'd had gone wrong in any way initially?
No, it was stronger.
So it sort of...
It works straight away.
It works straight away.
So you could feel whatever
hours.
you've been injected with had already frozen the parts of your...
Within hours, like, fully frozen.
What was the setting in which you had it done?
Mine was my home.
So the practitioner came to your home?
Yes.
Mine was at her home.
And that was at her home?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Did you find this person from somewhere, or did you get recommendation?
I got recommended.
And the person who recommended you, what did they say?
She just said she was really good.
Right.
And it was good Botox. She'd been before, but...
OK. Kaylee, you went to a different place. Yeah. Where did you go to?
I went to a salon.
A salon. And whereabouts was it? Was it in a hair salon?
Yeah.
And had you been recommended?
It was my 4th time going to her.
So that she'd already worked on you and given you... And you'd had no issues previously?
No, I'd always been fine. I thought I was going to be OK this time.
OK. Clearly that wasn't the case.
No. And when she injected you, did anything feel different this time to you?
This time, I felt like she was rushing. I felt like she was stabbing us in the head with the needle. She was really rough and my eyes was watering loads of it.
Okay.
Right.
So it certainly felt a bit more vigorous.
Yeah.
Nicola, when did you realise something was wrong?
Mine was by the weekend. I'd had it on the Wednesday, and by the Sunday, I started to feel unwell.
And what were the symptoms you were experiencing?
Exhaustion, drooping eye, food starting to get stuck in my throat.
So you couldn't swallow?
Quite frightening.
It is.
Lindsay, what about you? When did you first start to feel symptoms? And did you automatically go to, I think it's to do with the injections I've had?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No, I got mine on the Sunday, and by the Thursday I was in headaches. But I thought we'd had a viral in the family because a couple of the other kids had it. And then it was just getting worse and worse and worse over the days. I got to the doctors on the Monday. And then by then it was me breathing on the Wednesday. I was like gasping for breath. I couldn't swallow. My eyes was drooping. I was exhausted. The energy levels was just horrific.
But you still didn't expect...
Still didn't expect.
It was the injections
Still
that
didn't expect. No, they just put it down to sinusitis, virals, but nobody knew about it.
And then, Kaylee, you were driving your son.
Yeah, I was driving my son to a new school and I had my baby in the car as well.
Yeah.
And double vision just hit us. There was a bus in front of us and there was just 2 buses side by side. I was trying to rub my eyes, I put the window down. I didn't know what to do. I just was not expecting it at all. It was awful.
That must have been terrifying with your 2 children in the back as well. And did you have any other symptoms too?
I started off with the double vision.
Yeah.
Then I started off with really bad vertigo. I felt really dizzy. Then I couldn't open my eye. And I thought at one point I was going to end up going blind because my eyes were so bad.
God, must have been terrifying. Really terrifying.
Really, really scary.
So you went to hospital. What happened when you got to hospital?
When I went to the hospital, they didn't know what was the matter with us. So I went for a CT scan. I come back all right. Then they thought it might have been meningitis. So then I ended up getting treated with antibiotics and things for that. Then after that, they come round and the doctor come to see us and he said, it looks like a ptosis. So he just thought it was like eyelid drooping, where he could have just injected in the wrong muscle.
So they were aware of the injections you'd had. They just thought it had gone into the muscle rather than into the part of the face that it should have gone into.
Yeah, I'd told them I'd had the Botox. And they just said that they thought it was just the eyelid drooping. But I did have really bad symptoms, and I was thinking, is this what a ptosis would do? Give me the symptoms. But I didn't know what to do, so they just sent us home. And I just went home hoping that I would get better, but I was just getting worse as the week went on.
And so then when did you decide to go back to the hospital?
I went back to the hospital a week later. I had the worst week of my life. I couldn't leave the house. I was crying every day. I could barely open my eyes. I could only see from the bottom of my eyes. So, so I went back. I went to the doctors. Then the doctor sent us to the eye infirmary, and then the eye infirmary sent us back to the hospital.
And Nicola and Lindsay, you both went to hospital as well. But it was a social media post that one of you saw, or maybe you both saw, that made you think, hold on a sec, maybe this is to do with the injections that we'd had. What did you see?
Yeah, I'd been poorly for like a month and thought it was different things, got diagnosed with different things. And then I saw a media post saying if you have these symptoms, and it was literally every symptom that I had, then you need to go to hospital because it's not what you think it is, it's botulism.
It's botulism. And similarly for you?
Similar for me. I'd already been on the Monday, but obviously they didn't know what it was, and so this is when I was getting really bad breathing problems. Gone on the Tuesday, and I'd gone to a different hospital, and I'd seen a Facebook post saying you need to go to this specific hospital. It's botulism. And I had every single
symptom.
Just awful.
Once you got to the hospital and said, "Look, I think it might be botulism," and they looked at it and they agreed, they were able to give you some treatment then that sorted it out?
Yeah, we had to. We had the antitoxin, but they'd run out, so we had to wait.
Yeah, me too.
They'd run out of it, so clearly they'd had so many cases.
The demand for it.
There was a few girls there. While I was there, I didn't know it was the same thing.
God.
Yeah.
Awful. Couldn't open their eyes. I was like breathing. They couldn't open the right eyes, and it was just horrific.
And did the hospital tell you what you'd been injected with? Because it wasn't that you'd been injected wrong. It was because it was something that was a fake product, essentially.
No.
They didn't really tell us anything, did they?
I don't think they know a lot about it, if I'm honest with you.
They didn't really have the answers.
It's rare, isn't it? It's very rare.
Zoe, it's extraordinary hearing the girls talk about it, not least because, as Lindsay's saying, like, she's in A&E and she can see lots of other girls.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the antitoxin because they'd run out, because there'd been a run on the antitoxin. It's extraordinary.
Well, as doctors, it's something, a case of botulism is something that we expect to see once in our medical career, if ever. People might have heard
what botulism is?
Yeah, people might have heard of it. You know, when your mum said, don't get the dented cans in the supermarket because you could get botulism. And that's because there's a type of bacteria called Clostridium botulinum that produces this toxin, botulinum toxin. Now, you can ingest it and get botulism. Now, that's how we used to think it was very, very rare. But because this toxin has now been used in these injections, and these injections have lots of uses medically, they can be used to treat overactive bladder, tics, migraines, excessive sweating, but they can also be used cosmetically to paralyse the muscles of the face that cause wrinkles. When they're used properly by a trained medic in a clinical setting with a proper regulated licensed product, the risk of getting botulism is extremely rare, almost unheard of. But, you know, now it's unregulated. So anybody, essentially, can get their hands on fake products. We've got one here. I know, Kaylee, this is the one that you were injected with, wasn't it? Called Toxpia. We bought this, our producers bought this from South Korea last week, £93 for 2 vials of it. So that's 3 to 4 times cheaper than a genuine product that you buy here in the UK.
But that's not licensed to be used.
It's not licensed to be used here, so we don't know what's in it. But look how easy it was for us to get it. We could get hold of it.
This is a WhatsApp message that was between one of our team and the person that was selling it. And it's just really, really... we can't quite read, that's too far away from us, but it's just this really simple WhatsApp
really easy.
message.
It came in a few days, £93 for the product, including postage and packing. So once you've got people out there who, in an unregulated way, are able to get hold of these counterfeit products and offer these treatments really, really cheap, it's dangerous. And we've seen this huge surge in cases of botulism, which should not happen. Combination of people perhaps using improper technique in an incorrect setting, using an unregulated product, and we're seeing this surge in cases, which is just so worrying and upsetting because, you know, we live in a world now where this is really common. I'm so proud of these 3 ladies for coming and sharing their experiences and warning us of the dangers.
So what should people be looking out for? Because obviously you're not going to stop people wanting the treatments.
No.
But what should people be looking for? What research should they be doing?
Well, some red flags are, if this is cheap, if you're getting Botox for less than £150, that's a red flag. Ideally, you should be having this done by somebody who is a doctor, a nurse, a dentist. These treatments, these drugs have to be prescribed. So you absolutely need to ask the person doing it who is the prescriber, because the prescriber actually has responsibility for you if anything goes wrong. We do have people who are trained and supervised by prescribers to deliver them, beauticians, etc. So that's not completely outward, but you need to know who's prescribed it. Have a look at the product, ask questions. What is the product? Can I see it? You can compare it then to what we know are the regulated. There are only 4 or 5 different brands of botulinum toxin, of one of which is Botox, that are regulated and licensed in the UK. So if it's anything else, such as Toxpia, stay clear of it. And I think, you know, you should be having a face-to-face consultation with the prescriber. They should be telling you of the risks. They should be answering any questions that you have. They should be taking a full medical history, taking photographs, doing a consent form. If any of that isn't happening, then it's a red flag.
Lindsay, I wonder, with this morning research that we've had commissioned, that we've had done, 50% of the women who were consulted have had to seek some sort of treatment or support. Having been through this, the three of you, have you anecdotally met other friends that have all had to have something done as well? Is that your experience of friends having tweakments?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on a group chat, aren't we?
Yeah.
Which has helped, got us through things.
So the support, because you're not the only ones going through it.
Definitely. It's helped me massively. Massively. When you're having a down day, they pick you up.
Yeah.
It's
been really
it's
helpful.
been awful. It's life-changing, really life-changing.
And how are you now? Like, it's been a month since, or...?
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Exhausted.
Still exhausted?
Still exhausted. Gets to a certain time of night, my eye will drop, I'm, like, shattered. It's just exhausting. Swallowing, I still can't swallow certain things.
And, Nicola, if there's people out there watching, thinking, well, this is something that I like to do. I'm about to go on holiday, have a little bit of tweakment before I go. What would your advice be?
Make sure you go to somebody who is properly trained. Make sure you have what doctors always said.
All regulated?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, Kelly, your eye is still really bad. How are you doing more than a month on?
I'm still feeling, like, really down about my eyes. I've had my eye patch on now for 5 weeks. I'm just wondering how long it's going to go until I can...
Is the expectation it will recover?
They said I've got to wait for my nerves to regenerate, so I'm hoping that it does soon.
And how do you feel about what it was you did and the risk that you took now?
I just feel like I wish I'd never done it. It wasn't worth it. I'd rather have my eyesight and how I was than some lines in my face.
Goodness me. Well, look, thank you for coming in. I mean, the research that we've had commissioned, Zoe, is just extraordinary, isn't it? And it's a really timely reminder from the girls that actually the risk that you take if you don't take the precautions just aren't worth it.
And if it is cheap, it's probably no good.
It's risky. And there's more from this research as well, which we're going to be sharing through the week.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
coming in.
Thank you
so much.
We wish you all the best with your recovery as well. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You get better soon. As Zoe said, we're going to be continuing our investigation into cosmetic cowboys on tomorrow's show. One of our This Morning family will be sharing their own terrifying experience.
And if you've sadly had a bad experience after a non-surgical cosmetic treatment and want to share your story, please do get in touch with us. You can email us at thismorning@itv.com.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now.
Tell us more.
I will. Our next guests have been inseparable since they were toddlers.
Yeah, Georgia and Daisy from Kent have always shared everything with each other, and now they are sharing a pregnancy.
Yeah, best friends Georgia Barrington and Daisy Hope are with us now to explain more. Welcome, you two.
Yeah, welcome.
This is just such a love fest, though. I love the story so much. I cried when I read it about it.
Oh. So how long have you been friends then, Georgia?
Forever, really. Our dads are best friends, so we've been brought up together.
Yeah.
And we didn't see each other that much kind of growing up because we didn't live super close, but then kind of since teenage years and
inseparable.
We've just been
I love
all
that
bit closer.
And Georgia, when you were really young, you got diagnosed with a very rare condition. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's called MRKH, and it basically means that I was born without a uterus. There's a couple of different types of it, but
you've got ovaries.
Got ovaries, yes. Found out when I was about 15. At the time it was obviously very upsetting.
Well, you were quite young, but it was devastating because you've always wanted to have children, haven't you? You've always wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
In comes your mate, who's 15 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And Daisy, you, without hesitation, said, you know what, you can borrow my womb.
Well, because I just knew how much it meant to George, and if anyone deserves to be a mum, it's her. And I just knew in that moment that I just wanted her to be OK and, you know, that she was going to, like, live her teenage years knowing that it wasn't the end of the world. But
what I love about this is you said this when you're 15, which is, like, of course you said this when you're 15, because you're a good friend when you're 15, right? But to actually, you know, fast forward to now, and did you write a letter, I think, when you were 15?
I can't remember if I wrote a letter, but I got a letter back from George that said, you know, saying that you would carry my child for me. I'm so grateful. And even if it doesn't happen, like, just having you by my side is enough. And
so nice.
Yeah.
She was probably there writing fan mail to take that or something. But I've got to write one to Daisy. It's such a nice story. Yeah. So when did you decide for this to happen? Because it's been a while in the making, isn't it?
So it's been years and years. So obviously we first spoke about this about a decade ago now, over a decade ago. But then it sort of wasn't something we spoke about again. We carried on with our lives, we partied, we had fun. And then it wasn't until I met my partner, Ollie, and fell in love and had Amelia, that when she came into the world, I just thought, oh, my goodness, like, Georgia needs to experience this.
And what's so lovely is, Georgia, you decided your career path was to be a midwife.
Yeah.
You actually delivered Amelia. You was the midwife at the time.
Yeah.
That must have been just beautiful.
Oh,
your best friend delivering her baby.
Day. It was the best day at work ever. And it just felt like we were hanging out, didn't it?
That's because I had an epidural.
It was a lovely day.
Yeah,
this is great.
Burger King.
And then there was a baby at the end, so it's lovely.
And then, so did you get in touch with her? Were you at home one day and got the phone?
No, so we just went for coffee afterwards because me and George obviously would just hang out all the time, and she was always there helping me with Amelia and everything, and she's been amazing throughout my journey into motherhood. And we just went for a Costa, I think, and I just said, look, I want you to know the offer still stands. If you want to experience this, let's look into it. Like, I'm here for you. And we did. We started it sort of pretty soon after that.
It would have been great if it was the other way around and you suddenly get that call and go, about that letter you...
yeah, do you remember that?
So the wheels went into motion. You started having IVF.
Yeah. Yeah, so with Amelia, it was, I was very lucky and blessed that it was a very smooth and natural pregnancy. Didn't have to have any sort of IVF or anything. And then obviously for Georgia and Lloyd's baby, because it's their embryo, nothing to do with me, there was a lot of IVF. I was lucky enough to not have injections, but I did have to have medication, didn't I?
Yeah.
For quite a while.
So I suppose, Georgia, you was a little bit more hesitant in the sense that you had quite a lot of medical knowledge.
Yeah.
So you knew what her body was going to go through.
Yeah.
And what it entailed.
Yeah, and I always, when she first offered it and I knew I wanted to be a midwife, I'd always said, I want you to complete your family before you do anything like this for me, just in case there was anything to happen. Yeah. But Daisy, kind of just the amazing person she is, always just said, I'd rather us both have one than me have two and you have none.
Oh, my gosh,
so,
I could cry.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful friendship that you have.
How are both your partners? What do they both think?
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, it's
and
so funny.
They do think it's amazing. I think Lloyd, initially, you know, it's quite a hard thing to wrap your head around that someone else is having your baby, but I think because he's so close to you and we're all, like, such good friends, yeah, he thinks it's amazing. Right. Yeah, we just feel so lucky.
Yeah, Ollie's been so supportive. I honestly couldn't do any of this without him. He is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and he gave me beautiful Amelia, and, yeah, we're so lucky.
So fast forward, the first egg donation, it worked.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, sadly, you did lose that pregnancy and in miscarriage.
Yeah.
So you then tried again.
Yeah.
But that one worked. And that's the one which we have right now.
Yeah.
So how many weeks are you now?
We are 26 weeks on Sunday. We were just saying on the way out we're losing count, aren't we? It's all gone so
going
quickly,
really quick now.
Georgia, are you, like, really protective of Daisy? You're like, excuse me, could you stand back? It's very important.
Yeah, Rachel's can't go. Yeah.
It's just
lovely,
surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So when this baby's born, I'm so interested in everything. Will you start breastfeeding? Because are you taking medication?
Yes, so I'm going to induce lactation. So I've started taking medication from when she was about 8 weeks pregnant, and then it's quite a hard process and quite a lot of work, but it will be worth it. From about 32, 33 weeks pregnant, I then start pumping kind of around the clock until the baby's
And you've just got to keep doing it.
Yeah, just to stimulate, and then hopefully the baby will feed straight after delivery.
It's amazing what our bodies can do.
Yeah,
it's crazy. What about your daughter? Have you explained, like, it's just a friend?
Yeah, it's
your
absolutely
not
just
your
a friend.
sister or brother?
I think Amelia is more than happy with just being our only one. She loves it. She runs the roost, doesn't she? Bless her. But, yeah, we've just always said this is going to be your best friend. Like, would you like Gigi to have a baby? She knows that Mummy's carrying Gigi's baby. We're very open. We were open from the beginning. Sadly, when we miscarried, we did have to just sort of navigate that by going very quiet for a little while. So for Amelia, poor Amelia, Mummy has been pregnant for about a year now.
Yeah, she thinks this baby's been
been
cooking for a long time.
Yeah.
You're not used to when you aren't pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And so how is it going to work when you have So you can't deliver the baby, can you? Like, you can't
No,
feed them.
so I'm not gonna. I will be
too
off
invested.
work. Yeah, no, there's too much to think about, and I want to be there to support Daisy as like a birth partner and kind of prepare myself to become a mum, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to have one of my close colleagues look after us, and then, you know, if it's all going well and it looks like, you know, the baby's just going to pop out, then I might pop some gloves on and just catch the baby
Fingers
at the end.
crossed.
I can't catch everyone else's baby and not my own.
What a lovely
Isn't it?
story of friendship. And have you got these bracelets as well?
Yeah,
So
we
when
haven't
the
got them
baby
on
kicks-
today,
They were
but,
charging.
So when the baby kicks, you'll press it, Daisy.
And then
you'll
Georgie gets the
feel
buzz.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
too
Isn't
much.
that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what's happening at all times.
Yeah.
But you're feeling them kick now, aren't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
So it's,
This morning on the way up here, having a party.
Yeah.
I think they
Obviously
knew they were
the
going to be on
nerves.
telly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good.
Lovely,
I
isn't
can't
it?
wait. Will you, like, stay in touch with us?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
send us lots of pictures? I suppose
Yeah.
it's going to be online, because...
Well, we share it. I share it on my TikTok. We shared like the whole journey.
I mean, that's
so
blown
far.
up, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's how it kind of it all happened.
You've on
yeah.
the show.
It's the reason why she's sitting on this
Yeah.
sofa.
It is good old TikTok.
That's the
Very
tickle of the
surreal.
I love a bit of TikTok. Oh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And best of luck
Yeah.
Thank you.
with the birth and
How are your
everything.
whole families? It must be... I mean, your dad's, like...
Oh, I know. So
my dad is
excited.
doing my head in. He's saying, "Come on, Daisy, keep this up, keep
Yeah.
this up."
Oh, so
No,
nice.
they're very excited.
I bet they're
yeah.
thrilled.
They are, yeah.
Congratulations. to
We're
both of
excited.
you. That's-
Brilliant. Good luck with that.
Not nervous anymore, are you?
No, we feel better now.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Welcome back to This Morning. Now, it's a story that's very close to our hearts here at This Morning, personally and professionally.
Yeah. Right now, nearly 1 million people in the UK are living with dementia, but those whose lives are impacted by the disease is far greater.
Now, one person who has been at the forefront of the fight against Alzheimer's for many years is legendary broadcaster Fiona Phillips.
Known for her bubbly personality and warm demeanour, Fiona Phillips was one of the most recognisable faces on breakfast television.
I'm Fiona Phillips. It's all going dreadfully well here. Is this Monday morning? It must be. I've forgotten to put the contact lenses in.
But in 2008, the much-loved broadcaster decided to leave GMTV.
All of life's big things have happened to me since I've been here, and throughout you have supported me so much. I cannot tell you. I've spent hours in my dressing room, just crying over your letters and cards. So thank you so much. It's been such a privilege sharing my mornings with you, and I won't forget you.
The difficult decision to step away from her dream job was so that she could care for her father. He'd been recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's, not long after Fiona's mother had also lost her battle to the same disease. Through documentaries and campaigning, Fiona shared her family's story in the hope of raising awareness and finding a cure.
With all this research going on, that's why money is needed for research, to give everyone hope.
Juggling life as a mum with 2 young sons and her commitment to campaigning, she was widely recognised for her contributions to the fight against Alzheimer's. But sadly, away from the cameras, in a cruel twist of fate, Fiona was set to face her own devastating diagnosis. In early 2022, shortly after her 60th birthday, doctors confirmed Fiona's worst fears. The symptoms she thought were due to the menopause were in fact early onset Alzheimer's. More than 3 years on, Fiona's fight against this cruel disease continues. Well, Fiona's still committed to her mission to raise awareness of Alzheimer's, chronicled her story in a new memoir, Remember When, with the help of her husband, fellow broadcaster and our former boss, former editor of This Morning, Martin Dressel. Martin, welcome. It's lovely to see you again.
How nice to be back. It's good to have you back, actually. It's really nice.
When did you decide you wanted to write this with Fiona and share the story?
Well, funnily enough, people think, oh, gosh, is this like a diary of... is it a companion? Is it a help book? No, it's not. It's none of those things. It started off literally when I noticed, or when we knew that it was Alzheimer's, it was to give her a purpose, first and foremost, to give her something to do. Because you saw from those clips there, I mean, this is a bubbly, smart... You know what live television's like? Most of our life has been in live television. Yeah. Fearless woman, very modern woman, and all of a sudden it stops.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of Fiona's problem just now is that she's got bad depression because she wants to work. She'd love to be here. She'd love to be here. She's not well enough today to come and talk to you. She'd love to be here talking about those things. So this was basically a vehicle to give her a purpose. So she wrote it with her good friend Alison Phillips, who you know from editor of Daily Mirror. I wasn't going to do anything about it, and I said to the publishers, shall I write a couple of paragraphs just from my point of view, from, you know, the family's point of view? And they said, that'd be good. I ended up doing 24,000 words because the more I thought about it, the more I get into it, I just got very angry that we don't talk about it. It's kind of, you become invisible with Alzheimer's. No one wants to know because it is just so horrible.
What's so lovely about the book is how honest Fiona is and how honest you are about your relationship, how it affected your relationship. When you didn't actually know she had Alzheimer's, you just thought she was moving away from you and she disconnected from the boys and you, which was so incredible.
So when I think about it, it probably takes us back, it's almost like 5 years ago when we first noticed things are not right. And you just put it down to, is it just a long marriage? Is that just the way things go? And I thought, there's more than that. And the mood swings were very obvious. And so I hoped against hope that it was menopause. And so we went and had menopause tests, and she was put on HRT. But the brain fog didn't move. It was still there. And that's when we thought, I think we need to go and get tested for, quite frankly, you know, what her family had been riddled with.
And in the back of your mind, is that always there because of that family connection?
Yeah, you do think that her father had it, her mother had it, her uncle had it. Her whole kind of family has always been with it. And so you think, crikey, I mean, you just get on with life. You think that at some point, and I think she does as well, she says in the book too, you know, she knew this disease was going to come knocking at some point.
And obviously the decline of her father and her mum, it must have been in the back of Fiona's mind always as well, that she probably inevitably was going to get it.
There's an interesting, I forget how many, it was a couple of years, maybe 3 years ago, she said, one day she said, right, we need to clean out the loft, the attic. We need to clean out the loft. And I said, well, why? Because we'd moved house. For 15 years, the boxes were still up there. Everybody has it. We just hadn't taken stuff out, don't want it. It was left up there. And why? She said, well, we don't want the children to have to go through it. And I'm thinking, you know, why today would you think of that? And this was a good few years ago. And I just wonder if at that point she was thinking, subconsciously or very consciously, we have to put things into order. And that's what it didn't spur me onto it, but it did make me think that we need to think about lasting power of attorney, which I would advise everyone to get. And so we had that quite early on, which has been fantastic for us. It's really helped.
Just practically, what does that enable you to do?
It gives me control of finances. There's two types. There's health and finance, but it gives me control of those things. If she's not able to make decisions for herself, then I have power of attorney to do it on her behalf. And pretty much everyone, banks, utilities, should accept that. Most of them do. There's one or two, I'm not going to name them, who actually are accusing me of, well, actually, maybe you're trying to sort of win one over on this. We need a bit more evidence. And I'm thinking, what evidence do you need?
She's got Alzheimer's.
But by and large, LPA is a must for folks. Once you get to your 50s, you should definitely get it.
Tell us, how bad is Fiona right now? At what stage? Because it feels so quick, the deterioration.
Well, she'd love to be here, but she's got anxiety. She's got a kind of a secondary problem that causes her to be in pain a lot. I mean, a lot of pain, which adds to the confusion. So it's difficult. In the book, there's a picture of her at the end of our road, kind of the most recent picture I took only a few weeks ago. And she's looking great, and she's kind of smiling, and she's got her coat on. And what you don't know is she thought I'd kidnapped her. This was us going out, because you get all sort of delusions, because you get so kind of worked up. She keeps saying, I want to go home.
So she doesn't recognise you now, Martin?
No, she does recognise me most of the times. Doesn't quite know that I'm her husband, but she knows who I am. But on these occasions, and it's not frequent, but it's every now and then, she'll want to go home to her parents when I haven't got the heart to say they aren't here.
What do you say?
Well, what you do is you say, let's get our coats on, let's get our shoes on. We go out, go round the block a couple of times and come back in. And she says, oh, I'm home now.
So you meet her where she is?
Yeah, I mean, you don't argue with them. But, I mean, I'm only human. Sometimes I keep saying I'm not the Mother Teresa of Wandsworth. I do get frustrated. I do end up arguing sometimes. You get so worked up after the 5th or 6th or the 10th time of saying something.
That's why it's so important for you to have written so much of this, because the family's voices need to be heard, right? Because when you get the diagnosis, you know where that road's leading.
Yeah,
It's not like
when
if you've got cancer, the first thing you say is, how are we going to beat the cancer?
Yeah, when you get the diagnosis, and I've got nothing but praise for the NHS and our doctors and our professor who's helping us through. But she went through scans and blood tests and a lumbar puncture. And then the day finally comes where you go to the room, and it's the NHS, and it's the starkest room you just know what it's like. No money spent on it, but the doctor says, I'm terribly sorry, but I believe it's Alzheimer's. And here's a leaflet for you to look at. I'll go and get you a cup of tea. And so we're sitting there. She was wearing this fabulous, I'm sure it was a sort of powder blue River Island suit. I think she thought she was going to get away with it. You know, she thought, surely it's not. She's looking at $1 million, and I'm sitting there, and he puts the pamphlet over. And on the pamphlet, swear to God, it's an old lady with a Zimmer frame and her partner or husband with, a shock of white hair, just about struggling down the road. And it's like living with Alzheimer's. And you think, God, is that it? Is that it? But the 24,000 words I ended up writing, apart from starting off, will I do 2 paragraphs? Because I just get so angry. When you actually look into it, society has decided we're not going to take it as seriously as we should. The money that's there for Alzheimer's research it's like buying a Starbucks cup of coffee, basically, trying to fight a disease. Yeah. It's impossible.
And we do need that research because, you found out, it's in the book, that she actually doesn't have the gene for Alzheimer's. So how does that even work, that she's now got Alzheimer's?
Well, because her parents had it, we thought, crikey, is it hereditary? And so, yes, you get this bad news, then the doctor says, well, there's another bit coming. He says, we've got to do a blood test because we want to make sure that your children haven't got it, it's not coming through. And so that takes 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, you're thinking, crikey, what do we say? Yeah. What if this is bad as well? And it turns out, no, it's not genetic. And so I said, well, how on earth is that then if surely there's a connection? She's just predisposed to it. So basically, she's just more likely to get it. But there's no history of it on my side of the family. So that kind of helps as we go forward.
Well, in terms of your family, and this is something I think will resonate for so many people that are going through the same thing, how do you tell them? How do you tell the people you love the most, your children?
Well, they knew because they've kind of lived with it. So they lived with, their grandparents, going through it. And they could see, like I did, because we were all together, they could see the mood swings, the changes, what was going on. So they kind of knew what was coming. And kids these days, they're across media, they Google everything, they know it.
So you know your own family, don't you?
Yeah, and they've been sensational in terms of helping me. And we're just getting through it as a family. And what helps me get through it as well, I suppose, is that I've still got this anger in term of the injustice. Maybe it's because I'm a Glaswegian, the injustice of it all. Yeah. And no disrespect to Birmingham, but when you think of the amount, say, HS2, what it costs, where the money's going these days, that's not going to help these kind of diseases, it's £1 billion a mile. Imagine if we put £1 billion into Alzheimer's research.
Unbelievable.
We'd sort it. We'd absolutely sort it. At the moment, that's about £160 million. It costs £42 billion a year to the NHS and the health service does Alzheimer's. I say in the book, and deliberately quite provocative, I say, I wish you'd got cancer. And I mean that in the sense that, well, at least there'd be some hope. Yeah. At least there'd be some treatment.
It could be a cure.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a route. So, and it might be incurable, but you've got a shot, you've got a chance. And you know that there are so many charities and institutions out there that are working towards ending cancer. Yeah. Whereas when you get that diagnosis, it's a one-way ticket, right?
And, well, no one's survived it. So there's no one around to say, hey, this is what we do. And it's not a sexy disease in terms of the pictures aren't great. No. And if you start to get Alzheimer's badly, it's not a good look. So it's not until you're on your deathbed you look bloody awful. So it's not going to, get front pages. And no royals seem to have had it, but they've had cancer. So it needs, and I'm the only one that's speaking just now because no one else has spoken about it. And once I stop speaking, and I'm not going to be the poster boy for it, I reckon it'll just quietly go away into the shadows again. Yeah. But it's Britain's biggest killer. And they say that 1 in 3 babies born today, this Friday, 1 in 3 of them, is going to develop dementia, unless we do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Fiona's day-to-day like nowadays, and what's your day-to-day like nowadays?
Well, I'm doing some other stuff. So, my respite is to do other work, some podcasting, and I get down to the river and I try and do a bit of sailing, and my kids let me do that. But a lot of it is just, luckily I found a great drug that kind of it's meant to be, it's a bit of an antidepressant, but it helps her sleep. I mean, quite recently she was waking up at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, 6 a.m, saying, right, what are we doing now? And so we're all knackered from it.
Yeah.
So now she is sleeping more, which is great. But she's also in a bit of pain as well from a secondary development in it that, you know, I'm not too sure whether it's neurological or whether it's an actual physiological thing that's happening. So literally, we just live for each day.
Do you have any help at all? Because obviously you.
No, we had someone come in. A very nice lady came in, but Fiona is still. I mean, listen. Although she's got Alzheimer's, she's still whip smart and intelligent, and she can suss these things out. I said, "Oh, here's this nice lady. She's the housekeeper. She's getting a housekeeper to come in." And Fiona said, "She's not a housekeeper, is she?" I said, "No, she is a housekeeper, you know." But she kind of sussed that out quite quickly. So we went through it for a few weeks, and then we just thought, what's the point? Because she's not, she's still very mobile, totally mobile, so we're not at a stage where we need someone to come in.
So she's still independent, she wants to...
Well, she was the most fiercely stubborn, and probably still is, independent woman ever. And when I say, look, the doctor says you've got to take this, she says, well, I'll be the judge of that. You think, oh, now, please, just...
Don't be the judge of that.
Please, just take what the doctor says type thing, which is what I love about her. So, I mean, the old Fiona is still very much there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's this lovely story, and you know, so many people say music helps, and you say there's this great sort of wonderful song she used to listen to about the stylistics, and it's still the thing that takes her back to a teenage bedroom in Southampton, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, they say music. Well, I know music. Their memory. She's got a better long-term memory than I have. Her short memory's gone, but
still.
But long-term, she remembers all the lyrics, all the songs. That's why choirs. That's why Vicky McClure's dementia choir worked so well. I remember the day we had her on the sofa here, and I went home and said to Fiona, I said, I had an interesting Vicky McClure from Line of Duty was on today. Oh, yeah. She has this choir. It's like a choir for people who, you know, have just, you know, memory issues. Oh, yeah. I said, have you ever thought of joining a choir, Fiona? I can't tell you what the expletive was, but it was pretty much put that alongside. Have you ever thought of doing a jigsaw?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing watercolours? You know, yeah. So yes, some music. So we'll sit and lie down when she's in pain, and I put the Stylistics on. And the Stylistics were the band she listened to in her teenage bedroom growing up. They moved around in Canterbury or down sort of Brighton way. And so she remembers word for word she could go on the hit list and she could tell you the first opening bars of each Stylistic song.
Wow. Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah. And she remembers all the words, does she?
Absolutely. You know, she still remembers quite a few things. She remembers you, she watches you, and she remembers you. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, Martin, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. And the book is out now, My Life with Alzheimer's, by Fiona Phillips. Remember when.
Thanks, Martin.
You're welcome.
Inspired by Fiona's fight to raise awareness of dementia, leading expert in the field, Professor Kath Mummery, is going to be taking your calls today in the phone-in.
Whether you're coming to terms with that difficult diagnosis, if you'll know for certain symptoms what they are, any cause for concern, Kath is here to help.
Yeah, give us a call for free on 08000 30 40 44 or scan the QR code, which is on the screen right now. It will take you straight to the free This Morning app. You need to do that by 11:15 and you need to be 18 or over.
So we are dedicated YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, after being offered some work experience in a West End hotel, Sam Inez jumped at the chance.
Sam, who has Down syndrome, was given the opportunity as part of the Down Syndrome Association's WorkFit programme to work at the prestigious Waldorf Hilton. He impressed so much that he landed a permanent role.
Sam and his super proud mum, Roz, are here alongside Lydia Herridge-Ishak from the WorkFit programme. Good morning to you all.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
How are you, Sam?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. So, you studied hospitality at college, is that correct?
At college, I studied retail, but at school, I did hospitality.
OK, so that was something that you always wanted to get into. That was your dream?
Yes, it was a dream, and I like to watch many things with Jeffson.
OK.
Was that what? So what was it about hospitality that you got really excited by? What do you love about it?
I love the whole idea that it's customer-facing. I also really just enjoy making sure that the guests have a perfect service to what they are wanting, given it is a prestigious hotel in its own right.
Yeah.
Yes. So you work at the Waldorf at the moment. What's your typical day?
My typical, I would go into the kitchen and help make the hot drinks, serve them, as well as help clear and set tables, interact with guests, and set up for a afternoon tea.
What's a lovely thing is that as anybody who's been lucky enough to stay in any hotel where there are teams of brilliant workers like you want the stay to be the best it can possibly be. To hear you say that's your big drive here is making sure the guests have the perfect experience. It's such a wonderful thing. You were born to do this sort of stuff. What's it like when you're able to chat with the guests, Sam, and to know that you've had a positive impact on their day?
It feels amazing that I've given them a positive impact on their day. And I know they'll come back based on the good service as well.
Ros, you must be extremely proud.
I'm so proud. I can't tell you. When he was born, I didn't know whether he'd walk or talk, and he's always just totally surpassed our expectations. So.
But also to seem so happy and thriving in life and succeed.
Fairly independent.
Yes.
He doesn't live at home. He lives in his own flat in supported living.
Yeah.
But it must have been difficult as well, and this would have been difficult for Sam too, but Ros, must have been difficult for you to see Sam go through school, go through college, and then really struggle to find that next step. You know, because clearly he's got bags of potential, he's got loads of personality, he's doing an incredible job now that he's found an employer that was willing to sort of embrace, you know, who he is. But that must be so frustrating
It's really, I think for all parents of people with special needs, the jump from leaving college or school to what on earth's going to happen with the rest of their life is really sort of stressful and difficult. And you just suddenly all the sort of support networks go away and you don't know what's going to happen. And Sam kept applying for things, but nothing much happened. And then we got in touch with WorkFit, actually, and a lovely lady called Alison Thwaite said, send me your CV, did a Zoom call with us, and then got in touch and said, I think there's this opportunity at the Hilton, which would be good for Sam. And I said, no. The Waldorf, far too fancy hotel. They'll look down on him. It's 45 minutes on the bus from home. Can't possibly. And she said, well, go and meet them. And here we are.
Wow. And you don't just love what you do, Sam, as well. It's also affected all the other aspects of your life. You travel on the bus by yourself. You live by yourself too.
Yes. And I'm enjoying having that extra bit of independence that work in the Waldorf Hilton has helped.
Yeah.
Lydia, talk a little bit about this work programme that you helped Sam through and how you are helping other people.
Yes, so the WorkFit programme is the Down Syndrome Association Supported Employment Programme. So we're really that in-between to connect employers like Hilton and many others with candidates like Sam and all the people that we support. And our support's very personalised. It's very tailored to each individual. It's it's not one size fits all, of course. So we're there to support the employers. We're looking at what are those roles, who's the team, what's the location, the logistics of all of it, and then work with individuals to see what is it that you actually want to do. Have you got any past experience? If you haven't, that's fine. Let's look at what you're interested in. What's home life like? What's everything that goes into going to work that we all have to kind of consider. But we're sort of that place for people to come to have those conversations and to start them.
Are you finding that there are employers out there that are looking to try and help in this region as well? And because
Absolutely.
your WorkFit programme exists, they can come to you and say, right, we want to find some workers like Sam. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's exactly what is happening. Because we're a place you can go to, we're a place where you can find that information, you can find that support. We find a lot of employers who contact us, they're really excited, they are really, really wanting to do this, they just don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
What is that next step? So that's really where we come in to just talk it through, think about those reasonable adjustments and just I suppose just to instil that confidence internally with employers, so that one goes well and it creates that ripple effect throughout. Like with the Hilton, loads more Hilton hotels get involved, and that's the same thing that happens across lots of industries.
It's so funny when you mention the internal benefits as well, because obviously we can see how much Sam loves what he does and how it affects his confidence, but also the team within the Waldorf Hiltons as well. It directly reflects back. The team love having Sam there too. Yeah. And there's this sense of camaraderie.
Completely. I think we find that with so many of the employers that we work with. We always hear people saying, when we have our catch-ups and our reviews and everything, saying, team members love going on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday or whatever day it is, and there's a real sort of a positive change within teams. It's a different dynamic that sometimes you get from it. We do find that a lot.
But Sam, your hope is that you can become a bit of a role model for other people like you who maybe are looking for some opportunity to be a bit more independent, to get into the workspace, and they'll look at you and they'll go, wow, look what Sam's managed to achieve. Maybe I could do that too.
Yes. I'm happy to be a role model, and it feels good to be a role model as well.
Yeah. What would you say if there's somebody sitting at home, maybe there's a mum like Ros who's got a child who needs a bit of support, a bit of extra help, and the young person is thinking, how do I get out and do that? What would you say to them with regards to sort of going forward and giving stuff like this a go?
I would simply say, be confident, be yourself. If you need help, ask for it.
It's a big part of it, that, as well, as Lydia was saying. There has to be adaptions, or things have to be adapted to allow for Sam and who he is and stuff. And the Waldorf Hilton have done an amazing job at making sure that he can go in and thrive and do all that. But as a parent, you're always going to worry. Like, I'll worry about my boys when they go off to work as well.
It is. I think for parents, it's a real struggle letting go. And I think we've always tried to push Sam, but I think I've also always sort of underestimated what he can do and been worried about it. And you've always just totally blown my expectations out of the water. And the Hilton were just amazing, because when Sam I think for any employer taking on someone like Sam, he can do anything, but it just takes him a little bit longer to learn. So the Hilton gave him 3 months, I think, so training that you might normally do in 2 days. They broke it down into half-hour slots for him, so he could pass you had to pass some food and hygiene exams, I think, didn't you? Yeah. And they sort of set up a programme so he could actually get through all that in a different way, and that was a brilliant investment, I think, on their part. And then now, you don't have any support, you don't have a buddy, you just ask for help if you need it, don't you? So actually that upfront investment of just spending a little bit more time, then the person can
everyone reaps the benefits.
Yeah, everyone reaps the benefits.
Yeah.
And you now are upholding the standards at home as well, aren't you? There's Waldorf standards being implemented. Tell me what happens at Christmas.
At Christmas, I help set the table. So I will go out and eat everything up, and I do get a little upset if anyone messes up.
Perfection.
Yes, that's the thing. That's what it's drilled into you.
Perfect, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming today, and thank you for chatting to us. It's been fab to meet you. Long may your success continue, Sam. Long may it continue.
Well, look, we've got a few messages as well from some people who want to say how great they think you are.
Whenever he does come into the room, he always brings brightness with him. You can see the team, how their mood changes. It comes from how good he is, how positive he is. He always tries to make things right, to go above and beyond for each individual guest.
It was an amazing experience. He's an absolute tonic to start your day in the morning.
He gives to the guests all his love.
The lovely, lovely smiley face to be greeted with.
And we get absolute 5-star reviews for him.
I really look forward to his career flourishing here with us at Hilton.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
What do you think of that?
5-star review, Sam. That's impressive, no?
Yes.
Well, you've done that. You've achieved that. So congratulations on all your hard work. I don't doubt it's going to stop. You need to keep it up now.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. It's lovely to meet you. Ros, thank you for bringing in and sharing this amazing story.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how full of pride you are right now. As well.
Aww.
Lydia,
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
And now then, a trip to the seaside is commonplace for millions of us over the summer holidays. We're about to hit another heat wave, lots of the schools breaking up. I'm sure you're going down to the beach with your families at some point. But on May the 31st, 2023, 12-year-old Suna Khan and 17-year-old Joe Abbas set out to enjoy themselves, just like you might be this weekend, at Bournemouth Beach.
But while safely playing in the sea, the pair were carried out by a strong rip current and tragically died later in hospital.
Well, Joe and Suna's mums, Vanessa and Stephanie, join us now to remember their children, but also to raise awareness on water safety. And it couldn't be a more important time.
So important.
Thank you both for coming in. We're so sorry for your loss. Vanessa, tell us a little bit about your Joe. He was on half term, wasn't he, when this happened?
He was, yeah. Joe was great fun. He was a lovely young man. He was happy, he was healthy, he was fit and strong. He was always at the gym if he wasn't at work or with family and friends. He spent a lot of time at the gym and was muscly. He was very, very fit. And he was training to be a chef. He had just completed his first year of training at college, and he had a job working at Southampton Football Club, where we live in Southampton, in their fine dining restaurants, working with their chef teams, and he was doing so, so well. He was really happy, and he was a lovely person. He was loving and caring. He was hardworking. He was fun. He was ambitious, brave, and, you know, doing a lot of things that I wouldn't have done at 17 years old.
And a bit of an organiser and a daddy of the group to some of his mates. I mean, at 17, that's unusual.
Oh, very much so. He was the one that if they were going out, he would be organising where they were going to go.
Right.
For the day to Bournemouth, he was arranging which train they should all get, sorting out booking the trains, sorting out just the day-to-day stuff. And I didn't realise till afterwards that he'd packed enough sun cream for his friends as well. And he had a couple of portable chargers in his bag because he was looking after everyone. Yeah. It's what Joe did. And his friend group really missed that now because they've got to look after themselves a lot more, although they're a few years older now, so they're getting a bit better at that. But it's just crazy, really.
Yeah, and the point you make about being fit and strong will become even more pertinent when we start talking about what happened on that day. And then, of course, Stephanie, your daughter, 12 years old, she had gone to the beach as well with her family. She was setting out for a lovely day. And she was a bit of a mummy to her siblings, wasn't she? And to her friends, a bit like Joe was to his mates.
Yeah, she was. She was, although she wasn't the oldest, people thought she was the oldest because of how she treated her siblings and, you know, in her friendship group as well. She was, you know, like the glue in her friendship group. She was very outgoing. So, yeah, she was similar to Joe.
Strangely how similar they were in a lot of ways. They were both so popular and so outgoing and doing really well in life, weren't they?
Yeah. And when did you first realise there was something wrong? Because I know that you dropped Joe at the train station.
I did.
You carried on with your day as per normal. When did you realise there was something wrong?
The first thing I heard was when his phone rang. I got a phone call from him, should I say.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Joe on the phone, it was one of the girls in their friend group, and said, something's happened in the sea. There's a lot of lifeguards and we're not sure where Joe and the other friends are at the moment. And we're thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then it went from there, really. I had more phone calls from his best friend who was on the phone to me saying, I've got Joe out of the water now, but he's unconscious. They say you need to come to Bournemouth as soon as possible. And then it was police phoning to check his details. And I remember very clearly I spoke to a policeman who said, I haven't got a lot of time because I'm dealing with a lot of casualties, but can you just confirm his name, his age, that sort of thing? And you are his mum and this contact number. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? A few hours earlier...
He hugged you at the train station.
Yeah, exactly. As we're leaving home, give me a hug. And just a normal day. And he was just going out for a fun day with his friends. How could that suddenly have changed?
Yeah.
it was so surreal. Even at the time that subsequently I found out it was happening, I sent him a text message. Literally at the time, the timeline shows the rip current was happening, just saying, hey, I hope you're having a lovely day. Stay safe. You know, make sure you're drinking enough water and wearing your sun cream. Those are the sort of things that are in my head. That it was never a consideration that he would have got into difficulty in the sea. Bournemouth seemed to be such a family-friendly beach, and he was being sensible. I knew he'd be sensible.
So, Stephanie, Sinner had been in and out of the sea all day with her siblings, and as Vanessa was saying, this came out of nowhere. They were all between the flags. It was a life-guarded beach. The water only came up to their waists, so they're not out in deep water either. What do you know happened which meant that suddenly all these people got into such trouble?
I've seen some of the CCTV from the day, and it appears that they've gone out into the sea and they sort of gradually get further out. And as my son was saying, because my son was also rescued from the sea that day, they were in the water up to about their chest, and they just suddenly couldn't touch the bottom. And, you know, they then started to shout for help, and then they were rescued from well, my son was rescued by one of the lifeguards, but unfortunately, Sana had disappeared from view.
Because at one point they actually thought that she'd made it back onto the beach because there was chaos kind of at the time and there were so many people in the water. But she hadn't.
No, there was a lot of confusion about where she actually was for quite a while. And because my son was in the water with her, and then he had obviously come out of the water, it was then realised that she hadn't, because he was one of the 10 that were rescued that day as well.
Goodness me.
In the same way Joe's friends here, her friend was right next to him in the water and he managed to float. He doesn't know how he managed to float, but somehow he did, and he was rescued. Others in their friend group managed to get to the shore, but Joe was out of sight for half an hour until he was spotted and brought in on a jet ski.
And to your point, Vanessa, Asuna is much younger than Joe, but Joe was a fit, healthy young lad, went to the gym, kept himself strong.
Massively.
This is the reality of these rip currents, that despite that, he wasn't able to keep himself above the water. His friend managed to float. Joe was trying to swim against the tide, trying to get back in, panicking, whatever that was. And that's the absolutely crucial thing here, isn't it?
Definitely.
Understanding what happens if you find yourself in one of these rip currents.
Very much so, because generally speaking, people don't seem to be aware of the extent of rip currents. 60% of RNLI rescues in the UK are due to rip currents, but people don't know about them. And as such, if you don't know, you're not going to know what to do.
Sure.
The coroner said at our inquest that if these are so common and they come out of nowhere and they can be so ferocious, you're not going to be able to predict this happening. So you need to know what to do if it does happen, which is why it's very much learn the messaging, get the word out for water safety education, and know that if you get into difficulty, automatically think, I need to float to live, and get that message out there, because at the moment it's not, and it would make such a difference if people automatically knew float to live through public awareness or whatever.
So can you just explain, when we're going to get some lifeguards to talk us through this, but from your perspective, and I know that you talk a lot about this, explain what float to live means and how you do it and what the best way about going about it is.
Obviously, since this, I've gone into all sorts of things and researched an awful lot of things, as you do when you're suddenly in a world that's totally crazy. You want to find out what and why. And so a lot of it is very much just lay on your back like a starfish, tilt your head back and just float the best you want. If your legs sink, it doesn't matter, as long as you're floating and like a starfish, really, they say. And you tilt your head back and wait for help. And if you can indicate to others that you're in danger by waving your arm, that is also a benefit. But these rip currents can take you so far, so quickly. And if you're floating, you're going to have a bit more time. That's what it's about, ultimately. It's giving you a bit more time. We're never going to know what Joe did in his final moments, which is truly heartbreaking, because it's those moments I don't want to think about, really. But I know he had such a zest for life. He would have done everything he could to survive. But sadly, he didn't make it out the other side.
And I do think that that's actually one of the key elements to this, is you think that by swimming against it,
Yeah.
As you said, he would have done anything to survive.
Yeah.
So he thinks if he swims back to the shore, he's going to do it, but that's just...
Exactly. Yeah, his friend who was with him in the sea said the last he saw of him was him heading towards the shore. So whether he was being taken towards the shore before he was pulled back out to sea, or he was trying to swim towards the shore.
Yeah.
But his friend said, I can't believe that I'm here and Joe's not. And that's so hard.
Yes, it is.
Heartbreaking for both of you. But the important thing, and you're both talking about this, Stephanie, that by raising awareness that you tragically lost your children, but if you can just save one life at the seaside or by a river at some point this summer, being here and talking about it has to be worth it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. That what me and Ness sort of set out to do is that if we can talk about what happened to our children, you know, it's too late for our children, but you know, we can try and get people to have the conversations with their own children and have conversations with their families before they're going out. It's not just the sea, the river, anywhere there's open water. Hopefully, giving them that advice will make them, you know, think twice, and it might save their life.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to have the conversation with my two little lads later.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here and for talking to us so brilliantly about it. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. And it's something in Joe and Sana's legacy.
Undoubtedly. Float to Live, it's a really simple but such powerful message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Now, our next guest has faced a journey few of us could ever imagine. In 2022, Katie Tyson was found unconscious after being knocked down by a horse. She spent a month in a coma and can't remember the 8 months that followed.
Well, after 3 years in care, Katie has relearned how to walk and talk, but incredibly, it was the music of Harry Styles that helped her find her voice again. And she joins us now alongside her husband, Mark. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for coming in. It's an absolutely fascinating story, this, Katie, and there's a really lovely, charming moment within it that you can explain how Harry has inspired you to be able to talk and sing and enjoy music again. But if you can take us back to what was life like for you both before the accident.
Well, I guess it's hard to remember, really, but I was working, I have my business, and had my PR and communications business. Work was going okay. I used to ride a horse every single day. I used to look after them. It's hard to imagine. And then we went to Glastonbury quite a lot.
It was nice. We had tickets to go to Glastonbury in 2022. That was all coming up, wasn't it? And it was, life was good. It was good.
And what do you remember about the day of the accident? Do you remember anything at all, Katie?
No, sadly, I don't. I remember thinking, I don't even know if it was when I was in hospital or on the way. I remember thinking I must have fallen off because that's usually what happens, but it wasn't that. I don't remember what happened at all.
So, Mark, what do we know now that happened that day?
So Katie went early morning to take the horse out. There was nobody else at the yard that morning. She was there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, I think. So she put the horse out in the field and it panicked about something. Katie went to go and see what was going on. And as I say, nobody else was there at the time, so we don't know exactly, but the horse escaped from the field, taking the gate and Katie with it. And Katie was found about 3/4 of an hour ago, 3/4 of an hour later, on the floor, head down and unconscious with the metal gate on top of her and the horse wandering around.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Gosh.
Quite dramatic. And Mark, so then what happened next? There was emergency surgeries that had to take place.
Yes, taken to Addenbrooke's Hospital. They did emergency surgery to remove the bleeding between the brain and the skull, had to remove a section of skull. And into intensive care, and was in a coma then for a month after that.
And what did they tell you? What was the prognosis? What were they expecting to see from Katie at that time, and what was the level of recovery they were expecting to see?
So it's really difficult with brain injuries. They just can't predict it. It's so complex. The consultant said to me she could be like this for the rest of her life. She might never wake up, or she might make a full recovery. But in reality, it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle, but we can't tell you where. We just have to wait and see.
Wow. So, Katie, you moved post-surgery, eventually you moved to the rehab ward and started working on your rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And what sort of things were you doing, and how quickly was the progression from where you'd been to sort of where you started being able to communicate and talk a bit more?
Trouble is, I can't really remember that bit. Thank God, in a way.
Yeah.
You know, block it out. But where was it? What was it doing?
Well, Katie's best friend Sarah used to play... Well, we all used to play music and read her poetry while she was in a coma. And she used to play you As It Was by Harry Styles.
Right. Do you know that song?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course. No, it's not the same as it was.
And she used to say that she was sat by your bed in tears listening to it because it was kind of like, you know, Katie and Sarah have known each other since they were this high, and it was like... It was describing the situation for her a little bit.
Yeah.
She wasn't sure what was going to happen. She wasn't sure it was going to be as it was. She wanted Katie back.
Yeah.
She wasn't sure if she was going to wake up. So, yeah, it was...
When did you notice that Katie was responding to Harry? I mean, Harry creates a response in more or less everybody.
Obviously. That goes without saying.
When was the response sort of actually... Mark, when did you start noticing that this was more than just her enjoying the music or conscious of that, but actually really engaging with it?
So I think it was when we had YouTube videos up. So we'd have the YouTube videos up, we'd have the words, and Katie would really, really be fixated, wouldn't you? She'd want to watch it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And with the words there, Katie would then start singing along. And at the time, it was really... She could say a few words, but it was really hard to understand, like, full sentences and things. But with singing, it just all came out, and she would be able to sing along. It was...
That must have been an incredible moment for you. Obviously, it was an incredible moment for Katie as well, but for you, coming from the unknown and not knowing what it was, and you were there every single day with her, what was that moment like for you, seeing that kind of level of progress?
Yeah, it was amazing, really, because we'd spent so long just with that complete uncertainty. First, not even knowing if Katie was going to wake up, not knowing if she was going to recognise us, be able to speak or anything. So each one of those little steps, and this was a massive one, being able to actually interact with something like that and then interact with us. And I mean, she absolutely loved it. You know, you could see she would be smiling, she'd be laughing, she'd be laughing when she got the words wrong. You know, it was great.
I think we've got a little bit of footage of you initially trying to sing along and then actually to work out where you are now. We'll see that progress.
If I could ever go without words of a sugar heart, one sugar heart, one sugar heart, one sugar heart. On the sunny evening, I know again. I need your face.
Oh, the power of Harry Styles.
No. So good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and from there it spiralled from there, essentially.
Yeah.
Tell us how you've been progressing since then, Katie.
Yeah.
So Katie's moved between hospitals and care homes.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's the uncertainty's been there the whole way through, but we've carried on pushing Katie, and you've just worked really hard.
I've tried to. The physios where I'm now are amazing at encouraging me to try and walk.
Yeah.
And I've done upstairs and I've gone downstairs.
Well done.
Things. So I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It's hard and sometimes scary, but I am trying to push myself to improve.
Yeah, and it's not just pushing yourself, you're celebrating life too.
Yeah, it's true.
You had your 50th birthday
Oh,
party?
my God, yeah.
Was it fun?
It was, mainly because we made it Harry Styles theme.
Did you? So did everybody dress up in the outfits?
And there was one friend that just went mental. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was very good at it.
Lots of dancing around in lots of pink fluffy coats and sparkly
feather
outfits.
boas and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a reason to celebrate life, I don't know what is.
So we put Harry Styles posters up all the way around the house for the party.
Yeah.
This was October last year.
Yeah.
The posters are still there. Katie won't let us take them down.
I'm okay with that.
Nowhere.
I'm okay with that.
And of course, Glastonbury's just happened.
Yeah, sadly.
You weren't able to go this year. However, you've got ambitions to go for 2027.
Yeah, definitely. You have to get in a big crew to get tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where do you see the future? Is there going to be a point where Katie will come home, do you think?
That's what we're hoping. So we're raising funds at the moment to do some accessible changes in our home.
Right.
So we can bring her home. And that's always been the aim, right from the very start. That's been the one thing that's kept Katie going all the way through, is the thought of coming home. And that's,
Of course,
It's
because
in
there's
sight.
nowhere like home, and you've got 2 kids as
And
well.
a dog, I miss my dog so much.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
And would Harry be coming with you? All your Harry pictures.
Oh, yeah, he's got to. You're not leaving him anywhere.
And we just like to say thank you to everybody that's helped us along this journey as well. Like all the NHS, all the care staff. I mean, you know, they've just been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the physios.
Adam Brooks, Northwick Park Hospital, the Marlbrook Centre, and Brainkind. Oh my God, Stagenhoe, where Katie is. The therapy team there have just been astounding. Honestly.
And you've got this GoFundMe, you've got an account that you're trying to raise the money. You need to get how much money, Mark, to get Katie
So
home?
we've got a target of 40,000, and it's going really, really well. We've raised over 27 already.
Scary.
It's
good.
I'm
so grateful to everyone who's donated,
Yeah.
friends and ex-colleagues, people I can't even remember have donated. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
The generosity of of spirit is nothing
Amazing.
compared to what you're achieving, though. Because it's so inspiring.
Thank you.
It's such a massive thing for lots of people out there who may be going through something similar, to see the progression that you've made, thanks to the amazing Harry Styles and, of course, your wonderful husband.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have him. He comes every single day to where I am.
And
Some people are just irresistible,
Yeah,
Katie.
it's
Do you
true.
know what I mean? That's the thing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for chatting to us and sharing your story. And keep going with the recovery.
Trying.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Glastonbury 2027.
Oh, it's a for
Fingers
sure thing.
crossed.
It's
Come
for
on.
sure.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. We're joined now by Paloma's twin brother, Gabriel Shemirani, and investigative journalist, Mariana Spring. Good morning to you both. Good morning. Can I first of all talk to you, Gabriel, about growing up, and were conspiracy theories like a part of your childhood? Were they talked about quite a lot in your house?
Yeah, so for as long as I can remember, conspiracy theories were part of our growing up. And as a young child, you don't really think about it too much. Like if your mum and dad are saying 9/11 was an inside job or 7/7 was an inside job, you're an 8-year-old, so it doesn't really concern you. So it only gets to when you're about 10, 11, 12, that it starts sort of shaping your worldview and your approach to politics. So, we say in the documentary that me and my brother, up until the age of 13, believed that the royal family was shape-shifting lizards. So it's stuff like that where it's very extreme, but it breeds into your life. And even some of the more conspiracy theories where they're not as extreme, but they're still obviously wrong. So like the 9/11 was an inside job, kind of things. Or especially with my mum, around the age of 12, it became the medical establishment is out to kill you. They're seeking to kill you. You can't touch them. You can't have vaccines. All vaccines are dangerous. Every vaccine is going to kill you. She really forced the idea of, for example, like the MMR vaccine causing autism.
It was. I think she got cancer herself, didn't she? Your mum in 2012.
So my mum got cancer in 2012, and she had conventional diagnosis, conventional surgery, and the surgery essentially was what cured her. I think I read some statistic with her cancer and with a double mastectomy that she had like a 78% chance of survival anyway. So after the mastectomy.
So she had the conventional treatment that actually saved her life.
Exactly.
And cured or got rid of the cancer.
Yes.
And yet, post that experience, her interest in the medical misinformation and the medical conspiracies, that sort of accelerated.
Yeah, so completely. So I think if you're familiar with Mel Gibson or Jess Ainscough in Apple Cider Vinegar, I think my mum saw this as her opportunity to mould herself as one of these wellness influencers. So she did the Gerson therapy after her cancer had been removed. And I think part of it, you know, she believes some of it because she's a very distrusting, paranoid person. But I think she also was using it as an opportunity. So it comes, you know, she does it, and it comes to around 2016, 2017, and she starts trying to build an online following, talking, you know, other alternative health seminars. But it wasn't until COVID that she really realised that this is, you know, this is my chance. This is this mainstreaming of anti-science narratives and this general public fear about health. And, you know, as with a lot of things, she was able to take advantage of that fear to place herself in the middle. And that's kind of what skyrocketed her presence in the alternative wellness sphere.
Right. And then your sister, Paloma, was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, so my mum and sister, as we all did, had like a very, very difficult relationship with my mother. So my sister started getting pains in her chest and her back around October 2023.
Yeah.
And she was estranged from my mum at this point. So again, my sister had the conventional diagnosis, you know, got a biopsy, was engaging with doctors, had scans. And unfortunately, on the 22nd of December, she got told in hospital that she had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which for a girl of her age, with her prognosis, very high survival rate.
Like 80%, right?
Exactly. So, I remember thinking, oh, she'll do chemotherapy and she'll be fine. And she was engaging with the doctors and she was actively weighing up her options. But it was when she told my mum I'd got cancer, that's when the control and the coercion started. And before I knew it, my sister had gone from not speaking to my mum to now she's removed from the hospital. Doctors are stopped from contacting her and she's, been coerced into doing this alternative therapy that my mum was advocating.
So she was given no conventional medical help whatsoever because she chose not to?
Not at all. My mum, no conventional medical help because my mum pressured her into not doing my mother and father pressured her into not doing chemotherapy. Either it was some of their associates feeding my sister misinformation regarding chemotherapy, saying it'll kill you, or the survival rate isn't true, it's false, or they were saying our treatment's going to leave you fertile and it's a 100% chance of survival. So it was kind of from sort of both aspects of the coercion, but also just feeding her outright lies, outright falsities.
Gabriel, this is your twin sister. That must have been, for you and your brother, this must have been terrifying to think and to see her getting more and more ill when there is an opportunity for her to have been treated conventionally that could well have saved her life.
Well, so when I heard, so I actually heard on Christmas Eve through my sister's boyfriend that she'd been discharged from the hospital and she was going to not do conventional treatment. I remember at that moment thinking, oh God, my sister's going to die if I don't do something as soon as possible. I know my brother had a similar feeling as well. And the most difficult part of it is, obviously, because me and my brother made our disagreement with our mum's treatment plan for us, it's very apparent. My mum actually stopped me from seeing my sister for the final 7 months of her life. So the last time I actually saw her was when I tried to visit on early morning Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see her until she died.
And Gabriel, how do you feel about your mum now in respect to your sister Paloma?
I mean, it's my opinion that she sacrificed my sister on the altar of her ideology for her own, for her own benefit, for her own public exposure. I've no feelings towards her. I think she should face justice, and I'm determined for her to face justice. Do I have any love? Is there any love lost between me and my mum? No, not at all.
I mean, it's a heartbreaking story and an investigation that you have looked into. It must have been extraordinary to uncover what is going on with all this medical misinformation.
Yeah, when Gabriel and Sebastian first contacted me, I interviewed Sebastian actually about his mum during the pandemic and his concerns about medical misinformation she was sharing and the impact it could have on the public. And then when I heard about what had happened to Paloma, obviously it's just incredibly sad for all of you and for everyone who loved and cared about her. And I think that, we tried to speak to Kate Shemirani and also to your dad, Faramaz Shemirani, her ex-husband. They didn't get back to us, but they've continued to promote a range of unproven theories about what happened to your sister, including suggesting that she was somehow harmed by medical staff and that there's been a cover-up taking place. I wrote to them with lots of allegations and they came back to say that they believed Paloma had died from medical interventions given without lawful consent or without kind of proper diagnosis. I've not seen any evidence to support those ideas. And I think speaking to you and your brother, Gabriel, and then also some of Paloma's best friends, the people who cared about her, you guys had a really unusual childhood, perhaps is the right way of putting it, and you grew up surrounded by conspiracy theory beliefs. And so to some extent, it makes sense that there were some of those beliefs that Paloma or you guys at various points took on. But it did seem like the evidence suggests Paloma was moving away from those thoughts. And while this might seem like an extraordinary family story, which it is, it also actually does reflect this wider context in which this is happening. I mean, off the back of the investigation, I've had so many messages from patients, doctors, medical staff, talking about the impact of these kinds of conspiracy theory tactics that can be used, particularly when someone is understandably really worried. They've just been diagnosed with cancer.
Vulnerable, Yes, they are.
And, the tactics that your sister experienced were things that seemed to be unfolding at home for her, whereas a lot of people are getting this on, or at least it started there, a lot of people are getting this on their social media feeds.
Yes.
It's being recommended to them by the algorithms, the systems. I ran these dummy accounts as part of the investigation just to see what people can be pushed. Typing in cancer treatments, there was a whole range of stuff that just wasn't true. And that was, conspiracy theories about doctors, unproven remedies, getting millions of views. And then you've got senior doctors who I spoke to as part of the investigation who say that they're kind of increasingly dealing with this visibility of the health misinformation, this mainstreaming of it. And by misinformation, we don't mean, genuine questions and concerns or real examples of medical malpractice. And also, there can be good things about doing complementary therapies along with treatment.
At the same time.
Exactly, but, and being healthy, that is a good thing. But this is about people rejecting kind of all forms of conventional medicine like chemotherapy and choosing those alternative therapies, believing that they could be curative.
Proven. Yeah.
Exactly.
We did reach out to Paloma's mum and dad, to your parents as well. Neither responded directly to the allegations, but your mother has made unfounded allegations against the hospital and its staff. We've seen no evidence to substantiate these claims. The inquest is due to begin next month to establish the circumstances surrounding Paloma's death. What are you hoping we get from the inquest?
I'm hoping they establish the facts and they find the information that, my sister died as a result of the rejection of treatment, and as a result that the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma went untreated. And for me, I want, obviously, a definitive cause of death needs to be established first before we can start talking about medical negligence and getting justice for my sister and, a possible criminal case. It's definitely something I'm discussing with my lawyers. But I think for me, even in a broader sense, is I think when you have a family member that dies, the worst thing is that you worry that they're going to be one in a long line of people that die this way, because they're so special to you that you want everything about them to remain unique. And I didn't have the time to save, I couldn't save my sister in time, but I feel there's still enough time to save so many other people. And as Mariana said, so many people have got in contact since the documentary went out. I find there's a real pattern of a lot of young women, especially, are susceptible to this kind of stuff because the alternative health industry sort of leverages these worries that women have about fertility, about femininity, about detoxing yourself, about cleansing yourself. And, obviously a lot of women have issues with eating and they leverage this and they coerce women into doing these kind of treatments and rejecting treatments like chemotherapy, which, does impact your fertility and doesn't impact your, how you look. So I think for me what's important is, A, preventing and educating people so they don't fall into that trap. But then also, seeing if we can get the law changed to, to acknowledge medical coercion better or...
Protect people better, essentially.
Or with the online bill that's going through...
Online safety bill.
Exactly, with more, right now legal but harmful is still allowed. And I don't think that should be the case because, I think that's where my mum's...
And that's about content on social media. And I think it's worth saying, the courage it takes for Gabriel and Sebastian to kind of speak up about something that is so deeply personal but clearly has impacted so many people, I think is really remarkable. As a journalist who investigates this stuff, I've found it remarkable and I'm sure that lots of people listening...
The documentary is available to watch still on iPlayer and is well worth seeing. Mariana, thank you for coming in. Gabriel, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Well, we're hopefully going to speak to Steve Gonsalves, whose 21-year-old daughter, Kaylee, was tragically one of those 4 students who lost their life in just a moment. We're just trying to get the line up so we can speak to Steve. In the meantime, David Wilson is here with us in the studio. David, this is a case that we have all been following, that you've been following, and then last week suddenly we had this moment in court where they went for the plea deal. What is it about this case, again, that has gripped so many people? The amount of online sleuthing that's gone on regarding this has been extraordinary.
So the online sleuthing is part of the reason it gripped attention. And the online sleuthing started because, of course, the murders took place 6 weeks before there was an arrest. And therefore, that 6-week hiatus between who did this to the person that they arrest created this online, which we saw clips of, this online speculation as to who might have been responsible. I think the other reason it gripped our attention is what we call proximity. The victims were young, white people with the rest of their lives ahead of them. They were students. They were all living in the same house, with the exception of Ethan Chapin, who was the boyfriend of one of the victims and who was also tragically killed. But that sense of proximity, you know, here is a mass murder taking place in circumstances that we can all see ourselves within. And that, of course, they were brutally murdered, we shouldn't forget. They were, you know, there was a degree of overkill, as we would describe criminologically, in how they met their ends. But that created the kind of interest in this case.
I think also because the plea deal that's just happened in the past week, what are the implications of that plea deal?
Okay, so the plea deal is offered by the state of Idaho to Kohlberger. Kohlberger, and through his lawyers, have accepted the plea deal. What the plea deal did was take the death penalty off the table. Idaho is one of the 30-odd states that retain the death penalty. The death penalty in Idaho is through firing squad, actually. So by taking the death penalty off the table, Kohlberger, who had been pleading not guilty, accepts that he did commit these crimes. The families, and I think we'll hear from Steve, Kaylee's father, shortly, some of the families are upset by the plea deal because they would have preferred that, you know, an eye for an eye, justice isn't really being served. And of course, because there is a plea deal as opposed to a trial, some of the crucial elements in the case won't necessarily be made public. You know, why did he do this? His motive. Of course, we don't need a motive in terms of a murder case. A prosecution just simply has to prove that this person did do the crime. There doesn't need to be a motive, but we might never uncover that, although there is some indication to suggest that Kohlberger was influenced by incel culture.
You can understand the family's frustration as well. On the one hand, the trial won't happen, so they won't be put through the ordeal of hearing all the evidence and everything that's gone on. But on the other hand, this has been decided by one person. They aren't going to get the justice that they feel like they deserve. They're not... I mean, what Steve says, they're not going to get those answers, that he doesn't feel like he's been able to defend his daughter as best he could.
And, you know, my heart goes out to him, and I've read many of the quotes Steve has made in the press, and I understand entirely why he takes the view that he has taken. I've worked a lot with people who have had a family member who's been murdered, and they all find closure in different ways. And I get the impression Steve was going to find closure by Kohlberger potentially receiving the death penalty. So I understand it entirely.
It's justice for them. We are joined now live by Steve Gonsalves. His 21-year-old daughter, Kaylee, was tragically one of those 4 students. Steve, thank you for joining us and for bearing with us as well as we got the line up and clear to you. We appreciate your thoughts today. It's been a week since that plea deal has happened. I wonder what your first response was it and how your family have been coping over the last week.
I feel like we worked our tails off for 2.5 years for a certain moment for our time in court. And anything less than our peers being able to judge what happened was a letdown, you know, and we're trying to wrap our head around the fact that one individual is able to determine what this justice was. And call us naive, but we grew up in a school system that told us that, you know, our juries, our peers would be the ones that told us, you know, decided what was guilty and innocent. And that's not how it worked. And we weren't prepared for one person to make a decision about something about 4 lives. So.
And Steve, what do you think about the fact that Koberger will now face prison and not the death penalty?
It's pathetic because in America, prison's daycare. It's daycare for adults. And my daughter deserves everything that I can give her, every bit of rage and power and everything that I could do to fight for her, I was doing. And I reached this one individual who made a decision without our input. And for me to stand silent and accept that is not who I am. That's not what this family is. We fight for our children. I mean, we're literally talking about life and death. And that's why I didn't want to be this guy. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to do all this stuff, but I have no choice. I am who I am. I said, if you don't give my daughter the most respect, the most justice, then I can't support that. And that's all I've done.
Steve, did you and the families know that they were going to offer this plea deal? Because you've waited 3 years. Like you say, you've been working really hard for this chance in court, and really seems like it's come out of left field for you.
It was out of left field. There's something going on about silencing. Everything was sealed. Everything. I mean, the gag order. Why are we doing a gag order? He pleaded guilty. We're still doing a gag order. So, no, we found out Friday they said that they might be looking at the possibility of pleading, and then by Sunday it was already done. And then they told us there's no way for us to even change the date. We've been trying to push back because my daughter's about to go to college, and we're trying to like juggle these things. Like I'm trying to send her to college and still go to court at the same time, and they don't seem very interested in working with us at all.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Steve, for the loss of your beautiful daughter. Does it also really feel even more painful, the fact that you won't get closure on it and you won't get answers?
It's worse than closure, people. What's going on is without him saying he's the sole person responsible for this, he can portray this victimization of himself. He can make a book. His sister's already been working with a professor that helped educate him to become a killer. She's going to make a book. They're going to put some of those proceedings on his prison books. So we're just living this nightmare over and over. And some of the families, I get it. They were just trying to get out of this nightmare, which I want to be done with it as well. But there's a right way to do it, and then there's a wrong way. And right now, we've been sold out. We've been sold out in America. And for me to pretend like this is justice is it's beyond me. I can't do that. I can't wake up in the morning and be the same person that I am and not say that this is right or this is wrong. I'm going to stand up, and thank God for media. Thank God for people like you guys who can say, hey, if this is if not everybody's on board, let's talk about it. Let's hash this out. Let's get to some kind of agreement. So, I mean, they tried everything to keep me from talking to the media. And that's one reason why they were upset with me, was just because I was going to talk to the media. And I said, you know, I'm going to talk to the media because they've been more fair to me than you guys have. So here I am, and we're at the end, but you know, thank God to your audience. Thank God to other people that they're interested, because without that, we absolutely have no chance of justice.
Well, we can see the pain, Steve. We can see that you and your family are living that, and the feeling that you've been robbed of any opportunity to see justice as it should have been. Tell us a little bit about Kaylee. With the pictures that we've seen, she was an absolutely beautiful young lady and looked so full of life and joy.
Kaylee was amazing. She was that type of person that was kind of like how I'm trying to be. I'm trying to channel her, where she never gave up. She never, ever gave up. She kept fighting. If she had a mission to get a new dress or something that she wanted to do, a new pair of shoes, whatever it was, she'd go around the house doing chores and telling us and reminding us that she was going to work her tail off so she got what she wanted. And that's really why I'm like waking up in the morning right here. We're 4 in the morning in America, where I'm at in Idaho. So I was like, you know what, anything that I have to honor that beautiful girl, Maddie as well. I have to honor those girls. And if that means getting up in the morning, start my day off a little bit earlier, that's a small sacrifice for what these kids went through. And that's the thing, is these kids went through the very most grotesque moments. And man, some people are failing us. They're just not standing up to these monsters. And we see these school shootings, we see all these mass killings and stuff. And I feel it goes back to just us not putting our foot down and saying, enough. And I'm trying to say enough, but I can't get the system right now. I can't get the court to, come in line. So, we're going to try to do whatever changes we possibly can, but this is not justice. This is a shortcut, and I can't buy off on it.
No, look, Steve, we really appreciate your time this morning, getting up first thing, and thank you for sharing some memories. It's lovely to see you smile when you talk about her, because she clearly was a joyous part of your life, and those pictures that we've got of her here, she really does shine out. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully you will get some justice at some point.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. It's summer, and I appreciate your time and your audience and all the love that they've given my family. I truly, it's been medicine. And thank you, guys. Thank your audience.
Thank you, Steve.
David, just one question. The surprise that clearly the families felt when this plea was put in has come out of left field for them. It seems strange that they wouldn't have consulted them and say, what is it that you as the families need?
I'm also quite confused by that process, because that's not the process I would be used to. And some other families have accepted the plea deal, and that was what Steve was referencing there. Can I just say that Kohberger will not be able to benefit from any book that's written about the case under American law. And secondly, he's going to be held not in a daycare center, he's going to be held in the Idaho Maximum Security Institution, which is part of the Boise prison complex. And that particular institution, the Idaho Maximum Security Institution, is known as one of the worst prisons in the United States. He'll be locked down 23 hours out of 24. It is not a life that any of us would want, and he will never be released.
But it's not the justice that Steve wanted for his daughter. You can understand his pain, can't you? Really heartbreaking. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
David.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Health condition which affects 1 in 5 of us and actually worsens in the summer months because of the warmer weather.
Did not know that. Despite the obvious cosmetic concerns, varicose veins can also cause great physical pain too. Now, we're now joined by ex-Hollywood actor David Tagg, who's suffered varicose veins for the last 10 years, alongside Dr. Zoe, to tell us more. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for sharing your
story. Interesting one, because you expect it kind of almost with ladies of a certain age, don't you? But a few of my mates have got them as well.
Oh, really?
Like, guys, yeah. So when did you first know? When did you first spot them?
Probably about 10 years ago now. So when I was in, like, my mid to late 20s, and then I know it was very small, just a little vein, and being a lad, like a lot of lads do, I suppose, you just kind of like ignore it and hope it goes away. Yeah. And it just progressively got worse and worse, and then I thought, right, I need to do something.
So this is a picture at when it's at its absolute worst.
So that was when it was warm as well, like you were saying before. It kind of like exacerbates it a little bit more.
Was it painful at all?
It was
painful.
When it got hot or when it got cold, yeah, it was painful, and to touch as well was quite sensitive. Yeah.
And Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's just so interesting.
Did it affect you?
What a time.
No, go on.
After you, sir. Did it affect your daily life and daily routine at all?
Yeah, so I go to the gym quite a lot, and if I train quite hard on my legs and stuff, it would be a bit painful. Playing with my kids, I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so if a lot of them, they run into you and they
I can't believe how big it is. I don't think I've ever seen a varicose vein that big before.
Horrendous, wasn't it? Yeah.
And the thing is, you was a heartthrob. You was on Hollyoaks. Did it ever affect you on there?
Well, personally, it did, because I would obviously a lot of time I'd have to take my clothes off with certain scenes, things like that. So I would try and hide it as much as I possibly could.
So you'd let the crew know, don't show that.
Well, I didn't even let anybody know, to be honest, because I was a little bit embarrassed of it. And I didn't want them to say, like, oh, maybe don't do this scene. Instead, I wanted to do the scene. So I would just kind of, like, position myself in a certain way so they couldn't see it.
Can we shoot it that way?
Exactly.
I think it'll be better that side.
Yeah, this side, just this side.
Director's like, what's up with David?
Probably nobody noticed. That's the thing. It's something that you're living with. You'll probably notice it more than anybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. And that photo was particularly bad as well. So some days it wasn't that noticeable.
So explain what exactly they are.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're quite common. They affect roughly 1 in 5 people. And essentially, it's a stretched, baggy vein. So if you think about our arteries, they're under lots of pressure, the blood gets swished around the body. The veins, if you think about a vein that starts in your foot, that blood's got to get back up to your heart, but there's not a lot of pressure. So in our veins, we have these valves that mean that blood can only flow one way. So blood flows up, and then it's caught by the valve to stop it back flowing. If those valves are not working properly, then blood can go backwards and it can pool in the lower veins, and that can stretch them, and then they can get sort of baggy and this sort of loose, twisted appearance. And they tend to affect the legs most commonly, but they can actually happen
because the legs are so far away from the heart.
Yeah, so there's more. They've got to fight harder. That blood's got to fight harder to get up in the body. So, so they are. Yeah, they're pretty common, and that's what causes them. It's this back pressure. You know, in David's case, he's a really healthy, fit, you know, young man when this first started. So there probably is a genetic component. They do tend to run in families, but also people who have jobs where they stand on their feet all day, so nurses, teachers can more commonly get them. And if you're carrying excess body weight, that can make you more likely to get them as well. And pregnancy is one of the biggest reasons.
Have you ever seen one as big as that before?
I've never seen one as big as that. I'm like, wow. I've actually never seen one as big as that.
Are they more common in women than men? Because
they are more common.
Culturally, we associate them.
They are more common in women than men, but you know they do affect men as well.
Yeah.
So, David, when did you decide to get treatment for it, or at what point did you think, you know what, I've got to do something about this?
Well, when I saw the size of how big it had actually got, because, like I said, it was small initially, and stupidly thinking it would just go away, and then eventually, this was there last year, it was 2-3 inches wide, and I just thought, you know what, this is getting out of hand now, so I need to go and get it sorted. Yeah.
So what procedures did you actually have?
So it was a laser treatment. So I went to see Dr. Christian at the Vein Centre, and it was basically like a tube with a laser on the end. They would make an incision in the top of the thigh, place the tube, and like burn the vein all the way down. Obviously, I'm filled with anaesthetic at the time because it's very, very, very hot.
Are you awake? Is it like local?
Yeah, I was watching it all happen.
Oh, my God.
So, but yeah, and it was on both legs as well. So they got rid of all of them in one go.
Does that sort of take you out of action? Can you not walk for a bit afterwards?
I have to wear these really beautiful stockings for about a week afterwards.
Compression
just to compress it all, And then after that, you're fine. I can't train for about a week, but after that, you're all good.
Dr. Zoe, how are they dangerous at all? Like, you know, I sort of, when I read my brief, I thought, oh, does there any, like, association with deep vein thrombosis or anything like that?
So deep vein thrombosis, if you're getting varicose veins, there's a very slight increased risk that you would get a DVT, but it's a slight increased risk. You're still considered to be very low risk of getting a DVT. I think it's important to say, I think people will be watching this and they might have varicose veins and wondering if they can get treatment on the NHS. For cosmetic reasons, varicose veins are not treated on the NHS. So only if you have symptoms, not necessarily emergency. So things like if they're bleeding, if you have a varicose vein that bleeds, it's likely to bleed again, so that would qualify you for treatment. If you get ulcers linked to them, if you get severe skin changes, you can get this thing called venous eczema, so really dry, flaky skin or discoloration of the skin. If they are painful, or this, often people describe more of a heaviness, a discomfort, or if you get phlebitis, so that's if you get a blood clot in the superficial vein, not the deep vein. Any of those complications, then you would qualify for treatment on the NHS, but otherwise the option would be to go private like David did.
Yeah.
OK, so if it's not hurting, leave it.
Well, it's up to you, but it wouldn't be available on the NHS.
Right,
some people, you know, you were saying that for cosmetic reasons, and when you look at that, you can see that a lot of people, it would affect them and affect their quality of life. So, you know, you might want to go ahead, and the treatments are safe. But yeah, the NHS will only treat if there's complications.
Is it completely gone now? How's your confidence, David?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, like, because I'm relatively confident in myself anyway.
Yeah.
But with that, like, even going to the beach or the swimming pool or stuff with my kids, and I just feel like I'd wear longer shorts and stuff. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
But now, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it was there.
Really?
It's amazing, yeah.
Listen,
That's unbelievable.
He's back, he's rocking. He was in a film nominated for a Cannes Film Festival. You're absolutely back. Thank you so much for joining us, the pair of you. Thank you. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, our next guest is living out his dream, working with the likes of Ed Sheeran and James Bay, getting millions of streams online and performing his music to thousands around the world.
But Tom's space journey just hasn't been easy. His career was nearly derailed by a battle with Crohn's disease, which saw him on the brink of death and left him needing life-saving surgery, which has resulted in him having a stoma.
Now, as an ambassador for Crohn's and Colitis UK, Tom is gearing up for a huge charity challenge this weekend. We've been talking about it. To help raise awareness, he joins us now to tell us more. Good morning to you.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
We've been discussing your war wounds, haven't we?
Discussing war wounds and the challenge. We'll come to the challenge because I think it's an epic thing you're going to be doing.
Yes.
It's going to be tough. You're going to get through it. But just in case people don't really understand, Tom, because they'll know your music, you've had hundreds of millions of streams. You're a wonderful, brilliant musician and performer, but you have this really, really difficult condition that you have to live with.
Yeah, I've had Crohn's for 20 years, which is kind of crazy. And it's definitely been a roller coaster. You know, I was even thinking about it the other day. This is like the first time in 2 years where I haven't been in hospital every year. You know, I wrote largely most of my first album in hospital. So to do this challenge and to, you know, be raising money for Crohn's and Colitis UK, I'm super proud, really.
So, Tom, you were diagnosed with Crohn's at 19.
Yeah. So you're revealing my age here.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I'm peeling back the layers of the onion. So how did you find out you got it, and what was that diagnosis
It just came out of nowhere. I was at university and I was having like diarrhea, you know, vomiting, weight loss and all these kind of things. And it was just, honestly, I didn't know anything about it. And I think this is why it's like important for me to, you know, if I can speak about it, because at the time there was, you know, there wasn't much awareness of Crohn's, and I think it's just important that we get the word out there, and because it is, you know, it's an invisible illness as well. So,
but it was super serious, life-threatening. You were 20 minutes away.
Yeah, so that was 4 years after diagnosis,
You had
20
a
minutes from dying, basically. Yeah, which sounds really dramatic, but
It is dramatic, Tom.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but,
just sound
and
it.
then I woke up with a stoma.
Wow.
And coming to terms with that must have been really, really difficult. How old were you at the time?
I would have been, 23, 24,
And
yeah.
suddenly you've got this stuff.
Yeah, I had like a record deal, publishing deal, and I remember thinking at the time when they were said, "Oh, we're going to have to put you in surgery," and I was like, I was more worried about all of that disappearing than the actual surgery itself, because I just thought it's over for me. Like, you know, I don't know any musicians that have these kind of things, and I didn't really speak about it until my third album, where I thought, if I've got a bit of a platform, hopefully then I can do it for my younger self and say, you know, it's going to be all right. And, you know, we've toured the world. I just got back from Brazil and Argentina, done Glastonbury, you know, living out my dream, but on Radio 2, which you played us, which was really cool. And, yeah, so it's, you know, I'm here hopefully to say to people at home, if you're struggling to get out of bed today, you can do it, because this idiot here is going to sign up for an army challenge.
Yes. You recently bared for the first time as well, of course. You bared all.
Yeah.
And you posted this, and you did some sort of, you know, post about that's you.
Yeah.
With your stoma for the first time. How did you feel?
Well, let's be honest. 2 days later, you were on Men's Health, so I was like, I was like some budget version of Ben Shepherd for a couple of days. But no, that was nerve-wracking because I hadn't taken my top off ever in life since surgery, really. I always wear like a support band, and then to be standing in front of a camera lens with it was daunting, really. But I did it really just to own the disease and having a stoma, because, you know, I recently became single in the last year, and I kept on thinking it was like a stumbling block of like having these conversations. So now I'm just going to have it as my Tinder profile, basically.
Love it, love it.
Because do you feel like there is still a stigma?
Yeah,
or there's maybe perhaps like an unknown kind of...
I think there's misconceptions, yeah. I remember when I started going to the gym and, you know, people I'd be working out with, they'd be like, oh, can you do this, can you do that? And I didn't play football for like 10 years because I was worried about getting injured. And honestly, this is why I want to do the challenge, to say nothing's going to hold me back. And having a stoma or a Crohn's is just, it's like my superpower. It gave me a whole new lease of life. You know, I since diagnosis to that surgery, I didn't have, like, I was just existing, really.
Yeah, and now you're not. You're absolutely thriving.
Yeah, I'm thriving. I've got a new album, tour, all of this, touring the world. I'm on the sofa with you guys. It's all good.
Let's talk about Saturday then.
Yeah.
So you're doing one of the SAS's final real tests for the people to actually get clearance to join.
Yeah.
That was a big intake of breath he just did. He went,
Honestly, it's brutal.
It's known as the fan dance?
Yeah, it's known as the fan dance, yeah. And it's like, yeah, basically, if I complete it...
Not if.
Well, I'll be part of the army, basically. they can recruit me. They'll be like, sensitive singer-songwriter.
So tell us what it is then, Tom. You've got to talk us through it.
Oh, God, it's... yeah, even saying it is just brutal. Basically, it's... me. Oh, God. I don't even want to think about it, Ben. I've been training for it for months.
OK, that's good.
Do you want to do it for me?
No, I can barely walk at the minute. I've done enough right now.
Yeah, I'll be basically weighted, and like for the first bit, I've got to go up a giant trek hill, and then I've got to run for like 8 miles of weights, and then go back, and then come back down. It's brutal.
It's relentless. In the Brecon Beacons.
Yeah.
It's their final test, isn't it? The SAS,
yeah, it's
to get into
basically to apply for a candidate to be
in the regiment.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, because if you don't do it within a certain period of time,
oh,
like,
they'll be telling
really
me to
tough.
do push-ups. It's the staff they're not gonna like me when they see me, but yeah,
it's going to be
it's going to be great, and it's the most important thing. It's for Crohn's and Colitis UK, and yeah, it's just for anyone at home that's struggling right now.
And as well, you've got a new album.
New album
coming out, Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Which sounds fantastic as well. You've been working with some amazing groups and artists.
Yeah, tour. Yeah, it took us to Brazil for like about a month ago, and Argentina. It's honestly a whirlwind, and to be physically fit for tour, and it's honestly a dream, because it has been a really rocky road up until now.
Mm. And with regards to, this is one of the myths that you wanted to dispel. You're doing this really physical challenge with the stoma on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's no issues with any sort of physical. You can swim with it.
Yeah, swim. Anything's possible with it. Yeah, and there's not. It doesn't hold me back in one way.
And you are now on the market. You're single.
Yeah.
Doesn't hold him back in any way.
No.
You just heard that.
We
didn't
know
you?
what his Tinder profile looks like, but maybe we can help. We're here to help.
Oh no, you're going to set up some helpline.
Helpline?
Do you know what?
Helpline, more like.
My mum's a big fan of the show, so that's. Let's focus on that rather than my disastrous.
What's her name?
Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. Good
also,
morning
as well,
to you.
she watches this on catch up.
Does
That's quite insane, right?
No.
That's lovely.
No, that's
Thanks
great.
very much,
Thanks,
Jenny.
So we'll also
very
get a
much
poll. How many
appreciate
of you
you.
guys watch this on catch up? I think, yeah.
We can test her later.
Yeah.
We'll be catching up with you next week to find out how you do on Saturday. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you looking so well. It's brilliant.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. And Ocean joins us now live from New York. Good morning, Ocean. Lovely to talk to you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
The documentary is absolutely wonderful. It's truly, truly fascinating. Where did your love for sharks come from? Where was your inspiration from?
Yeah, thank you so much. It really probably came from my parents. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. I come from a long line of water people. And so they clearly love the ocean, hence my name. And so I was lucky to grow up and actually get to see what sharks are really like, to see them in their natural environment before ever seeing them on a Hollywood fictitious film screen, like films like Jaws. So I think that helped a lot for being able to distinguish between what is the reality and what is, the sensationalistic view that they're often portrayed as.
Do you remember, Ocean, what your first encounter with a shark was like and how old you were?
I think I was around 7 or 8. I remember being not that far from shore and having a beautiful shark swim from underneath me along the sand. I was probably only in about 3 meters of water, and it felt like time just stopped. And as it passed underneath me, I had that moment where I thought, should I follow after it to learn more, or should I go in because I don't know that much? And I'm forever grateful to my younger self for taking that pause, that moment, and that intrigue. And I slowly followed after it, observing its behavior. And I like to kind of joke, I've now followed them around the world because I've been able to dive with more than 30 species around the world. And work with them. And it's incredible to get to know them on a deeper level, to be able to spend so much time in the water with them, because there's so much more to them than what the general public sees.
Yeah. Were you scared, though? Because even at 7 or 8, a big creature, whether it's a shark or not, swimming underneath you can be very intimidating.
I think I had a natural hesitation, and I think that it's good that they have a natural hesitation about things that they don't understand, which is why I gave it some distance and followed from a distance. But I really think that maybe due to other experiences with marine life, and given my water background and my proximity to shore, I think that there's a lot of personal factors that went into that. And that's something that I do with my work, is trying to help people to overcome that disproportionate level of fear they have that keeps them out of the ocean and not caring about sharks, and replacing it with a high, healthy level of respect. And that comes through understanding of their important ecological role, their capabilities, and how to actually swim with them as safely as possible. Because some people would just say, oh, just stay out of the water, stay out of the ocean. But it's that disconnect that I feel that often leads to apathy, and that feeling or lack of feeling of connection is unfortunately very prevalent. And I think it's exacerbated because of films like Jaws.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, actually, what do you think of that movie, and how do you think it
50 years old this year.
Yeah, it affects people's perceptions of these amazing animals?
Yeah, I just think that it's unfortunate that sometimes that's people's first experience with it. And it's so far away from reality. It's a Hollywood kind of got wrong, was not just the portrayal, but it really sort of planted a seed in people's imagination where they didn't have a lot of information. But what we have now is social media, and we have drones. And so now people can start to see the reality that, yes, sharks are there. And that common misperception that people have there, they think if a shark in the vicinity that it's gonna come up and eat them. The reality is they swim past surfers, swimmers, and divers all day, every day. And it is so rare that they make a mistaken identity bite or a territorial bite or a bite out of the brink of starvation. I'm living proof for that as well. I swim with them every single day. But yeah, I'm so grateful for drone footage now, essentially showcasing that to people.
Ocean, you have faced and do face quite a lot of criticism as well from people who suggest that the way you interact with the sharks isn't what we should be doing. If you go into the sea, you can look but don't touch. We could see some of the footage from the documentary, but also some of your Instagram footage. There's you touching a shark that you know clearly very well, and you're playing with its nose, and you're rubbing the underside of its body as well. What do you say to those critics?
Well, there's a couple things. For one, I am a professional. I grew up doing this. So I'm not trying to encourage people to replicate what I'm doing. I have a 6.5-minute breath hold, and obviously I spend my entire life focused on this. But I do that so that I can teach people what to do in an emergency situation. I want to help people coexist, because if they're just afraid of sharks and they don't know what to do, either they're going to encourage a bad interaction if they're approached and they panic and they splash and thrash like an injured animal and swim away. And also on the regards of touching, sometimes it's necessary in those situations when you get that less than 1% of the chance where you have an inquisitive or curious individual who comes up. And even then, most of the time, they're still going to turn away. But for people who are critical about me touching sharks, I just wish that they would redirect that attention towards the touching of sharks that actually harms sharks. So shark finning kills over 100 million sharks every single year, as well as bycatch in the industrial seafood fishing vessels. And then we've got culling going on in Australia and South Africa. Shark fishing is still prevalent over in the United States. And some deep sea sharks are even getting fished out just for their liver oil for cosmetics, pharmaceuticals. And many sharks are killed just for their jaws and teeth for the souvenir trade. So if you really, truly actually care about sharks or care about wildlife being touched, please help save some of those sharks. Don't criticize me for putting my soft little human hand, just pushing the shark away gently, which doesn't harm the shark.
Ocean, can we talk about your technique a little bit? Because you talk about it in the documentary and you almost compare the sharks to horses and how they feel kind of electrical impulses. And in the documentary, you go from making yourself small to kind of making yourself big and then kind of redirecting the sharks by pushing on their nose and pushing them away. How did you create this technique? And were you not terrified the first time you did it?
So growing up with horses certainly helped me because you have to be able to leverage off of them to maintain space so that your feet don't get stepped on, so you don't get kicked, so you don't get knocked by their head. And so it's natural with working with horses to maintain physical contact that also allows them to sense sort of your tension. And so I know that maybe only horse people totally understand that, but for those people who have dogs or cats, I think that maybe they can understand that when you walk into a room with your pet, that they can pick up on tension, stress, intention, and that if an animal were to run at you, and this is including human animals, that you might need to maintain space. So putting a hand on top of their head or snout, locking out the elbow to be able to leverage or maintain space is just a safety technique. And so I share that online, not as a showy type thing, but as an emergency procedure, because I'd rather people know what to do if a large, curious shark swam up to them, rather than what I think the human instinct would be to panic, splash and thrash like an injured animal, which is just sort of going to provoke that predatory response. So it's kind of like teaching kids in school, if they were to catch their shirt on fire, you don't just run around, you stop, drop, and roll. And so if you're approached by a large shark, you don't splash and thrash and panic and turn your back and swim away, encouraging it to chase you. You look at it, you face it, you extend your fins towards it, if you have fins on, or any inanimate object, surfboard, camera, whatever it is. And if anything, move at it. And yeah, if it comes up that close enough to touch, at the last minute, putting your hand on top of the head, closing out the mouth, locking the elbow, and moving off to the side. Now, I understand that these safety techniques, I've obviously trained a lot of people to do this. I've got a team of marine biologists that work with me in Hawaii at One Ocean Diving. We guide people in the water all day, every day. We wouldn't be able to do so responsibly if I didn't teach those people how to do this for that 1% of the time that they get that curious. But I'd still rather people have this information for safety purposes, because my ultimate goal, trying to get people to coexist with sharks, it means that I need to help them to actually coexist. Otherwise, they don't care if sharks exist, if they just think that they're monsters and they don't know what to do, or they don't know much about them and they don't understand them. We generally don't protect that which we do not understand. So I'm just trying to help people understand sharks on a deeper level.
You do a great job,
The documentary goes a long way to certainly illustrating that they aren't monsters. Hopefully, I'll never be in the situation where I have to employ the technique, Ocean, but I know what I need to do if I do get a shark coming towards me. Thank you for joining us. It's very early in the morning over there, but it's been lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ocean. And The Shark Whisperer is on Netflix
hello.
now.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.